Sorry, what's the best chat? You said
fire.
Welcome back, everyone. It is great to be with you on a Sunday again. It's been a few weeks since we've been able to do this, and I am super psyched about today's stream, and that is because I'm gonna introduce them straight away. We have the most amazing guest, one of the very best Eurovision analysts, not just on YouTube, but full stop, and that is the one and only Eurovision Tom, who will now be appearing on your screens.
Did I do that correctly? Hello, everyone.
Yes, you are loud and clear. Welcome to the stream. I am very ready to kiki. How have you been,
I'm in
Tom?
Discord new.
No, you're doing just fine. So
I'm new to Discord, so I'm gonna do a couple errors.
It's going to be completely fine. We're gonna work our way through it. I've been really excited for this one. This is something that we've had in the works for a few weeks now, just about finding the right day. And honestly, I think this is the perfect time to do it. We know basically everything we're going to know before rehearsals. So this is the best time to take one last look at everything in totality and see where we stand. And we have some very special things tonight. Like I said, we're going to be going through all of the participating songs, and we're going to assess what the chances are, what a good result looks like, what a bad result looks like. I have a very special, tiny little snippet, spoiler for you guys, from the next iteration of the model. It's a change that I think this chat will find very exciting. There's plenty to go to get done tonight. There is one thing I want to talk about first, which is what many of you will have seen from me on Twitter last night. Just in case any of you haven't, I am going to put it on screen now. That is that on this occasion, the EBU has decided not to accredit me for the press centre. I'm sure very many of you know this already. And I just wanted to say, really, because I made the announcement, and I'll come back to the bits and subs in a minute, don't worry. I made this, post last night just because I wanted to get it off my chest. And the response to this has genuinely been one of the most humbling and the most, heartening things that I could possibly have wished for, And I honestly, I just want to take the time to say I cannot thank all of you enough for your kindness, for your support, not just with this, but in general. And, ultimately, there's nothing we can do. There's nothing that can be done about this now. There's nothing that can be done. And I know there was, and I'd like to thank everyone who behind the scenes advocated on my behalf, who's been looking out for me. And there is going to be, I just want to reassure you all now, there is going to be no change whatsoever to my planned service at Eurovision. None whatsoever. All of the things I was planning to do before, I am still planning to do now. This does come with one small request, though, and it's a bit weird. I feel a bit weird being this direct about it. What this has done is created the need to source an alternative space for streaming, for filming videos at very short notice. Somewhere that is in Basel, central, that is close enough that I can get artists to come there. Because my Airbnb is in France. I can't get artists to come to France. For that reason, I am in the process of incurring an extremely large financial burden. So if you are able to help and support in any way, that would be hugely appreciated. With that in mind, I want to thank Kayla so much, who gifted 5 subscriptions right at the start of the stream. Alejandro Gonaccio 22, who threw in 100 bits. Sam Cottam and Pixel Dot for your Prime subs. And I saw another renewed subscription in there somewhere over on YouTube. Renewed membership, Johnny. There you go. So thank you all so much for everything. Like, seriously, this has been totally overwhelming, totally beyond anything I could have imagined. And the way we're going to do it, oh my gosh, and Ashquamarine just donated 10 subscriptions on. Oh my word, that's amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ash. Thank you so much to, oh God, there's stuff, everything's moving too fast. This tends to happen here, Tom. Things get pretty hectic pretty quickly.
Yeah, I'm loving all this new stuff I'm learning.
Yeah.
These things popping up on screen.
Yeah, oh yeah, because you can see it all, can't you? So thank you so much. I saw that donation come through just now with Loco Boombox playing. Thank you so much. Thank you, Tim Schnitzel, as well, for that subscription. I'll be making sure to try and thank every single one of you as we get through the stream. That said, someone asked, what is the best, most direct way to support financially? The best ways are probably Coffee or Patreon, which are in the description. That said, you can also use YouTube Super Chats. You can use, there's a donation link in my Twitch description as well. Thank you so much, Log. And thank you so much, Ablonsky, who's just donated 10 subs again. Thank you so, so much. And Addy, who's for the membership. I'm going to try and do these in little blocks now. So now we're going to focus. Now, amid all of this noise, there's one thing we want to do, Tom, more than anything else, which is talk about Eurovision. And so,
but first of all, are you planning to do like a Gabe HQ in Basel?
Yes.
Like, can we come visit you in like
yes, you can.
Is it going to be a warehouse or what?
Well, to be honest, I'm trying to be blunt about this. I need to find an Airbnb host who's willing to have a lot of people coming and going. That's the challenge.
Okay.
And getting any kind of space at short notice. I did inquire with some office spaces and some studio spaces, but they were either demanding month-long, they were either prohibitively high day rates or demanding month-long rentals, neither of which fit. So it's a bit of a balancing act, but we're working on it. I can already see, by the way, thank you so much to the Frogsley, who just donated, who just subbed. Himitsurisu. It's genuinely, guys, this is incredible. And Grackle of Welchmertz, who just joined the extremely cool tier as well. But yes, there will be a Gabe HQ. And Tom, it would be lovely if you could join me there. I'm sure we can do a stream. I'm going to be streaming every single day. Every single day. So there's going to be plenty of things to be talking about, to be working on. Avi, thank you so much for the 500 bits. We want to talk about
worst case scenario. Can I sleep in Gabe HQ if I get home late from Euroclub?
Yes, you can. There's a sofa bed.
I'm sorry.
For the low price of £500 a night. Thanks. It's actually, chat's going crazy right now. Someone just donated, Livka just donated 10,000 huff. I don't know how that translates into But thank you so much for the huff. Thank you, Little Miss Lily, for the 5 gifted subs. This is insane, guys. 10.
That's Hungarian. Isn't that Hungarian Florence?
Yeah, but I don't know what the conversion rate is.
Hopefully it's something juicy.
Well, let's
1-to-1. It's 1-to-1.
Someone put it. So apparently it's like £20. Thank you so much. That's so generous. Sheila Lala, $10 dollars. I don't know what R dollars is. Maybe South African rand.
R dollars.
Yep. And Kayla with the $2.
I don't know.
We are here though to talk about Eurovision and what we are going to do, because this is the perfect time to do it. I'm going to go back to just our cameras on screen for a moment. There we go. We have all of the information we're going to get ahead of rehearsals now for every single song. Mm-hmm. We have a lot that we know about basically everything. So what we are going to do, having now poured hundreds of hours in the last few months into just digesting all kinds of different Eurovision content, is we are going to go through each of this year's participating songs, and we are going to evaluate what their chances are, how well they could do, what a good performance looks like, what a disappointing low-end performance would look like, and see where we end up. And we're going to be going through each semi-final to do that. Firstly, though, Tom, what is your opinion about the overall quality this year? Because I've seen some discussion on whether it's fallen, whether it's maybe not quite as good as it usually is, but I don't know if I agree.
That happens every single year, though. Every single year is the worst year ever. That's like a continual thing we get at the end of February, start of March is this year sucks. I think it's a normal year in terms of songs. I think it's an above average year in terms of personality. If you look at the kind of characters and the, like, how interesting some of the entries are and a little bit out there, I think it's above average. I can remember the entries a lot easier than I can some previous years where it was maybe more generic entries. Feels like there's less generic ones this year.
Yeah, no, I get that too. I think there's a lot of unique stuff, and I think there's certain people who've responded to that saying, well, you know, perhaps they're used to or engaging with a certain set of Eurovision songs that maybe there still is here this year, but maybe it's a smaller wedge of the overall picture. By the way, Tom, I'm just in case you've noticed my camera go off for you, just so you know, it's because you've gone a little pixely. So now you can't see me, but I can see you, so you don't need to worry. And it's instantly improved your camera quality as well.
Okay, great.
So everything is just to reassure you.
A bit voyeuristic, but okay.
But also, there's things, and we'll come to this year. There's genres of music, and just quickly, thank you so much to Reese, who subbed for 6 months in advance on Twitch. Thank you to Fernando for the €10. Says love from France, love to France. It's something I never thought I'd say. Love to France, and we'll come on to France later. There are songs in genres that I love that I have never seen represented in Eurovision before, and this year we finally have them. I'm gonna keep stum about what those genres are, but. We will come to them. That said, we are going to start with something that I think is in a genre that is a staple of Eurovision, because we're going to start with semi-final 1, which means starting, and thank you, Sash, for that 1 month subscription. I just saw that. Starting with Eurovision's finest Minecraft players, Vibe, Roan. Opening semi-final 1. I think this was the most obvious, and also, this is a spoiler for later, but we're going to see the famous board, and we'll be seeing plenty of the famous magnets. This is a song.
We have to get the magnets in.
Yeah, exactly. And we have a plan for how we're going to use them as well. Frogsley, thanks for the sub. I saw €5 from... Sorry, there's just so much of this right now. And I really want to thank everyone. Thank you, Ollie Not Pro, for the 5. Thank you, Karina, for the $20 Brazilian dollars. Thank you for the 500 bits, Abathioni. Thank you, Nimala, for the sub. I don't know where to look. It's just... There's so much of it. Fire. I have gotten more and more optimistic about this song, about this entry, but I think I have some personal attachment to this. Fire. So I'm going to ask you, Tom, first, to try and give someone who's perhaps not quite got the same level of emotional connection to this, about how you feel they've handled pre-party season and what their chances are.
First of all, I totally get the emotional connection, because these guys are just pouring their hearts into this pre-party season. And they've been so good starting up their YouTube channel, doing all these videos. So I get that really wanting them to succeed. If I put my objective hat on, this feels really 50-50.
Yeah.
If we start going into emotions and subjective, I'm tempted to say 60, 70, 80, but then I know that's because it's what I want and not what I think could happen. You know, they're in quite a fun semi-final. We've already got Tommy Cash coming up. We've got Kai as well. I think if they were in semi-final 2, they might feel a little bit more unique. I think they'd have a slightly easier job. Plus, they're first in the running order. So there's a couple of things working against them, but they've got a lot of energy. They're very passionate. They're giving it their all. I just feel very 50-50 about it.
I think this is the thing is I'm torn between, and thank you, by the way, for all the various subs and bits and stuff that came through during that. I can see all your names. You know who you are. I think this is the thing is I do think it's 50-50, but one thing I always love to see is when an act kind of plays themselves into contention, and it's felt like the conversation has changed as the season has gone on. I think people started immediately after Songverkeppningen with a kind of, oh, well, this is nice, but it's not going to qualify, or, you know, this is fun, they're fun, but, you know, it's, you know. And then over time, I think people have been won over because they're really charismatic. They sell it really well. And the other thing I wanted to add is I have a small bit of exclusive information, which I'm now going to reveal exclusively on this stream. This is from Eurovoir's model, of which a small preview was shared with me in advance. As of today, the latest iteration of the model has this qualifying over San Marino by 1 point. 50-49, which reflects that the mood in the betting markets has slightly shifted. Their odds have shortened slightly. So there is clearly some, strong feelings for this. I'm going to briefly pause to say, Xenia, thank you so much for the 50 Swiss francs, which I believe is essentially 50 euros, which is extraordinarily generous. And the heart emoji, thank you so much. Hopefully see you in Basel. I know you're going to be there. Someone called Ninky Minjaj subscribes. That's a good name. That's one of my favorite usernames of the day.
That's a quality name.
Although one thing we haven't seen yet is there's a guy called Trousers Down who comes into the stream every single time just to say the words skibbity parg and then he leaves again. So watch out for that. I haven't seen him yet. But no, thank you. I want everyone to say thank you, Xenia, in chat. I want to see that YouTube chat just full of thank you, Xenias. And I guess because we're talking about 5, maybe W Xenia as well. We've got a lot of songs to get through. Any more thoughts on Iceland before we move on to Poland?
Well, the thing with the Songverkeppningen staging was obviously they're singing Icelandic, so the story came across very clear there. In Eurovision, they need to translate it, and they've said they're going to do that. They're going to be a little bit more informative LEDs, more storytelling on stage. I think if they build the boat was in Songverkeppningen, but it was quite quick. I think if they have more of a moment about actually build on stage, because that's what some of the song is about, is building the boat and then going out to sea. Just make it really fun. I think go a little bit camp and crazy. I think this has an advantage over San Marino because there's more potential for staging. We'll talk about San Marino later, but I think that they've kind of put themselves into a bit of a hole. Whereas I think Iceland's got a little bit more freedom. They can go a bit more crazy. So I agree with the model that this has got a better chance than San Marino.
And just so you guys know, we are going to do a kind of gun to our head if you had to order all the songs by how they're going to finish in the semi-final. How would we do it? We are going to do that later, so do not worry. Thank you, Angus, for becoming a member. Thank you, Stan, for subscribing as well. Next, we have... Now, this one, I don't know if you saw this, Tom, but I'm going to start. It was really funny. I interviewed Justina in London, and I mentioned another one of her songs to her. And I said, in the context of, you've had all these amazing projects. Why was it this one that made you want to come back to Eurovision? And I said the song name, and she went, you know that song? And then she goes, let me kiss you! And sort of leaned over and which it was good because obviously right at the start of the interview, it's like, okay, good, we're on the good lines here. But I think it illustrates that she really is a force of nature. And I have become, again, this is another one I've become increasingly optimistic about. And the diaspora loves her too. What are your thoughts on Gaia? Is there anything about it that sticks out for you? How do you think it's going to do?
I think it's just fundamentally extremely entertaining. Like the thing I took away from the national final performance was just pure entertainment. It's very over the top, it's very dramatic. She does a lot of stuff. We've got some bench pressing, we've got some standing up rows. She's going up on zip wires. Just a lot of stuff thrown in, but it works. It doesn't feel like overcooked. She's wonderful. I love the representation as well of a contestant her age as well. I think that's awesome, and she's killing it on stage. Amazing voice, great story coming back to the contest after 30 years. I think this is a wonderful entry. I'm a little bit sad that it was put so early because we've only got two female vocalists in the first semi-final, and then they put her very early and they put Albania very late. So there's this huge gap in the middle. So I thought that was a little bit strange when I saw the running order. But I think she's going to stand out in the recap because there's so few female artists and she's really badass.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. And thank you, Dara, for the 15 gelati. It's more than enough. I love you so much for that. I think this is, I have sort of varying sizes of like windows of uncertainty for different songs. And there are some songs that we'll come to that I'm going to really struggle to place because we've been given so little information. We have so little to base our impressions off. This is basically the one I feel most sure about. I'm very certain it's going to qualify because she has such committed fan bases in a number of other countries. Like, if we take, for example, in this semi-final, the country we just talked about, Iceland, has a proportionally quite large Polish community. Justyna Styczkowska, when she went to Manchester, for example, for Mankhagen, the audience was full of just Polish, people who are descended from Polish immigrants or people who are first-generation Polish immigrants who would come to see Justyna. So I'm totally certain about this result. And then in the final, I'm totally certain that this is going to come somewhere between like 7th and 12th. It's going to do pretty well with the televote. And that's because, obviously, we have that fan base I've talked about, but also her training regimen is so precise. Her qualities have been so well demonstrated already. She's so experienced that she's clearly, and you could tell in London, totally unfazed. And it's really interesting how big an impact that the sort of whole process can have. Some artists, it completely chews them up. I mean, look at Mia and Dion as for an example for where this went the other way. But Justyna, totally in her element. I've rarely seen an artist that relaxed in one of those press rooms. Totally on it. She is loving every moment. And as somebody who's, you've worked with athletes, you know what it's kind of like. How hard do you have to train to be able to hang in midair like that? What kind of upper body strength do you need?
It's the fact that it's the cardio that she's doing as well. She's spinning, she's moving up and down, she's getting up and down the floor. Like, if you want to know how difficult it is, just try it yourself at home. Put the song on and do the dance while trying to sing it, and you'll see how out of breath you are. And this is why I think some of these songs should get a little bit of more consideration from the jury when they're doing so much cardio and dancing. I think that should be factored into the vocal score. Not just how clean your vocal is, but how difficult is it to do that vocal while you're moving around. Because like you said, she's so professional. One thing I'll say about this performance as well is I feel pretty sure we know what we're getting in Basel because all of her pre-party performances have been pretty similar, like the national final. So I feel like this is the one that we're probably gonna have the least amount of surprises when we see the rehearsals. And I think the package is great, so need to change it.
Yeah, I think, and from a Polish point of view, I think if I was a Polish fan going into this, I'd be feeling really great. Like, you know exactly what you're getting. You know it's going to do just fine. And yeah, I'd be really pleased if I was in their position. We're going to go on. And I got
mind now, only Blanca and Ochman have qualified for Poland in the last 6 years. So Polish diaspora does need to show up for it.
At the same time, though, I think the key thing is, while it didn't work out for Luna, probably because she was very pitchy, the fact is that Poland does disproportionately well with the televote. And if we stretch it back to like 2013 or 2011 or something, there's only, I think, 2 occasions. I think it was the Ride in 2021 and Luna were the 2 years in which Poland didn't qualify, at least with the televote. And like just missed out in 2019, but if that had been televote only, that would have qualified. And of course, the thing with that is it may well have been that an error from a juror who ranked their songs back to front may have given Belarus just enough points to go past them. We're going to go to the next song, and I have.
Julie qualified. Yeah, no, sorry, just
No,
Julie
it's fine.
did qualify. You're right.
You finish. If you had one more thought, let's do that, and then we'll move to the next one.
Just to back up what you're saying, Gaia came third in her semi-final. After all of the drama, she was third in the televote in her semi-final.
And to be honest, I've got to admit, and it's been long enough now, we could admit this, I quite enjoyed it. It was so camp.
I'm not saying anything. I don't want to go there.
I really quite enjoyed it when I saw it live on stage, and I thought she leaned into the whole meme potential really well. We're going to come to Slovenia in a second, and I'm going to leave it open to you to basically go wherever you want to go with this. Very quickly, I want to thank Corey for donating $9.99, and MacGyver 1618 with €13.16, which is very precise, but I think I know why, because he's making a Haken reference. He says, great to see the two best Eurovision content creators team up. I know Tom's here, but Overthinking It's not here, so I don't know who the second one is. But also says, Gabe, what's your favorite Haken song? Mine's Pareidolia. For context, this is a prog band I mentioned in my most recent video. Tom, one of my most played bands of all time. My favorite song is Crystallized. It's like 25 minutes long or something. So if any of you want to listen to that later, that can be some bedtime. That can be some homework. Now, Slovenia, Clemen, how much time do we have left? Tom, the floor is yours. What do you think? Oh, he's frozen. Earth to Tom. Earth to Tom. Uh-oh. Well, did he move there? Did anyone else see that? Or is he still frozen? Well, it seems we didn't have very much time left. But while we're waiting, Thinker227 says, Gabe, you have to do something with Overthinking It. Keep an eye on their channel this week. While we're waiting for Tom to come back, I will talk about this song instead. I'm just going to tell him to just rejoin when his internet's working. So, this song. And there's going to be a few here where I'm like, well, there's a disconnect between what the Eurovision fandom is thinking and what the general public are thinking. So, just doing tech support with Tom, and I can see is he moving around? Oh, there you are. You are audible. You are back, Tom. Tom, you're visible. You're on screen right now. It's working. Can you hear me, Tom?
You hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me? Oh, well, now I can't hear you. So, well, while we're trying to solve this mystery, this is a song. Is that actually a lot of non-Eurovision fans seem to enjoy it more than Eurovision fans do. I think because of the simplicity, but the poignancy of the message, it's something that everyone can relate to. Because of that, I'm starting to wonder whether this might sneak through. Just starting. It's beginning to seem like a possibility. Tom, if you can hear me, you're sort of freezing in and out. Oh, we've lost him. He'll be back in a moment. So I'm starting to wonder whether this will go through. The problem I have is basically, I don't really understand the appeal personally. I talked about this in my most recent video. I deliberately put myself in a position to be as... Oh, I heard Tom there. Maybe not. I put myself in a position to be as receptive to this message as possible, and I just wasn't quite connecting to it, you know? I mean, I'd love to hear in chat everyone's thoughts about this. The thing I will say, he's been very charming at pre-parties. I know a lot of people who come into contact with him have really been charmed by him. At the same time, as someone says, it's a bit of a snooze fest. Maybe it's not quite interesting enough. Tom says he can hear me perfectly. He's going audio only for now. Tom, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes. You sound perfect.
I'm so sorry, everyone.
That's all right. It's
I'll try my video again in a bit.
That's fine. It's Wi-Fi working in mysterious ways. What we'll do is we'll go through Slovenia, then give the Wi-Fi, give the camera a try for a few minutes. It was working super fine before. It may have just been like a quick drop. So, Slovenia, the floor is yours. What are we thinking?
Yeah, I feel like this is the type of song that the Eurovision community is. You look at the Eurovision scoreboard, ballads and songs by men tend to do badly. And we know that when we compare Eurovision scoreboard to actual results, that's one of the biggest differences. He's in that demographic. So, look, he's very early in the running order. Third isn't a great slot, but he's got quite a unique song. It does stand out in the semi-final. He's quite a big personality. I think he can pull off some big antics on stage. So, look, I'm still kind of like borderline no with this, but it would not surprise me if casuals actually really enjoyed this and put it through.
This is the Dons, is what we're saying. This is the Dons of this year.
I think a lot of people are going to be talking about Dons this year. I don't know if that was an anomaly or could it be like a new thing that we're seeing.
I mean, there is an audience for sad men with sad ballads. Like, you know,
Yes.
there's definitely an audience for that. Le Big Steed, by the way, has donated £5. Thank you so much, and says it's cool to see Tom doing a collaboration with Armenia's act this year.
Yeah, I got to give a shout. I love Armenia. I've got to work with their big star.
Don't encourage them. Don't encourage them, Tom. They have enough of this already. Literally.
Let's go, chat. Let's go. Armenia,
Whenever-
they're from Armenia.
Oh my god, no! Whenever, seriously, it's getting really bad. When the Eurovision channel posts a video with Park in it, the comment section is literally just full of people being like, "Oh my god, it's ESC Gabe!" Like, I feel really
Are you
bad
gonna take
for the
your top
poor
off?
man. Oh sure, duh, I don't think so. Not on this street.
Did you see
Maybe in
his thing?
Basel. Maybe in Basel.
He
Not
took his
here.
top off at the Madrid in the Madrid pre-party. He took his top off. I think might be something happening in Basel.
Well, I think people will enjoy that more than me taking my top off, I suspect. By the way, Dennis Shoka, sorry if I pronounced that wrong, has donated another 10,000 Huff. It's a great currency name, Huff. It's very powerful. And says, Lucas sent me to donate some more strong Huffs. Thank you for your Huffs. Should we try your camera again, Tom, and then talk about espresso macchiato?
Let's try. Let's try. Yeah.
All right.
Am I on?
Yes, you are, and you're looking fabulous. There we go. Terrastar
Fingers
says,
crossed for the stream.
it'll be fine. Don't worry. We'll make it through. Terrastar says this has to culminate in an ESC Gabe and Park stream. Let's see. I'd love to set something up. I'm going to email all the delegations this week, but we'll see what we can do. Right. Espresso macchiato. I've been thinking about this a lot, and I watched Overthinking It's video about this, which is really interesting. And I was actually thinking think about his closest friends in Eurovision. You have Joost and you have Gaia. Joost's music is mostly the same, right, as it was before Eurovision. Obviously, mentally, it really affected him, but musically, he basically stayed where he was. Gaia reinvented himself for Eurovision and stayed there. Now, this feels like a bit of a reinvention for Tommy Cash. Now, of course, he's reinvented himself plenty of times. That's part of the appeal. But it does feel like this is less risky than I was expecting. Is that something you would agree with? Because I was expecting madness. Maybe my mistake was to expect something specific from Tommy Cash when he always does the unexpected.
Yeah, like if you watch his Untis music video, whether you watch the safe version or the naughty version, I think you'd come out of that expecting something really super crazy, risky. And this does feel like a little bit more watered down. It feels like kind of more Eurovision appropriate or his interpretation of a Eurovision song. I still think casuals are going to absolutely love this. Again, this feels like a song that's been underrated by the community a little bit. He's doing great with the OJE votes, actually, much better than I expected. I think casuals are really going to like this. I put this through as a definite yes. Because I'd be so surprised if this doesn't qualify. This is what so many people casuals tune into Eurovision to see.
Every casual fan of Eurovision, every kind of tune in on the night person who I've spoken to, who has heard this song, loves it. And the number of people who know it already is much higher than a Eurovision song at this point. And he's going to get 12 points from the Italian televote. Genuinely.
Yeah, well, he's been working a lot on it. He's been doing TV shows and stuff, and people are assuming that San Marino will get the 12 from Italy. So there's a bit of competition there.
I think this controversy has sold him really well. People are on the street, and I personally, I think he's played it all really well in the end. It's really worked for him. His PR campaign has worked, and also then we have to say his interviews and stuff at the pre-parties. reflected maybe a different side to him to what people had seen before. So I think there has been some movement in how fans feel. I think a lot of people are still a little annoyed. There was some drama with Sissal today. I don't know if you saw it.
No, I didn't.
Basically,
with the Pharaoh flag.
It wasn't the Pharaoh's flag. It wasn't that. It was with basically, Tommy Cash had said in the media, he was asked about, and quickly before it disappears, because I see it's about to disappear. Thank you so much for the 50 Swedish crowns. So thank you for the sex, Addy, who says stream germ. Yes, we all are. But he'd gone on record saying something along the lines of, these people are artists are building friendships for personal gain or something. I can't remember the exact wording of it. And then Sissal came back and was like, that's ridiculous. So there's a little bit of tension, but in general, he also seems to be gelling really well with most of the other artists. I don't think he's
I gotta
trying
agree
to
with
start beef.
Sissal there.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's fine. You go.
I was just gonna say, I don't think her making friends is gonna help her get that many votes. I think she just genuinely I think she's friends with like JJ and Carl Alessandro and Mariana. That seems to be like a group.
Mm-hmm.
That seems pretty genuine to me. I really don't think they're getting that much out of it. Your fans already know all the songs. I don't think they're going to be like throwing votes because of that. So it seems a little bit cynical if that's what he said.
Yeah. At the same time, I think, there's there is an element of, I haven't seen the full quote, so I don't, there's an element with people. I think people do want Tommy Cash to, that people are rooting against him in a sense. And I get that. In some ways, he's played to being the villain of the piece, right? And we need it. We actually do need pantomime villains in Eurovision. It enhances the experience. But as a result, I think some people are responding to that. Moving on.
People also need to be able to pull away and see that is a character, though. There's a real person and there's a character they're portraying. Like the extreme example is Sylvia Knight from Iceland.
Oh.
That was very obviously an extreme character. I think Tommy Cash is a decent person deep down. He's done the pre-parties. If he was super, super arrogant, he wouldn't have done the pre-parties. So,
yeah, and like I said, he was perfectly humble at the pre-parties too. Moving on to our first pre-qualifier. So, this song, luckily for this song, it doesn't have to compete in the semi-finals. Otherwise, it would be only competing in the semi-finals. And that is Spain. I
do not want to be associated with that comment. Did you do that?
Well, Tom, I've talked more than enough about this song. So, your thoughts. My audience probably needs a different opinion to mine because they've heard mine too many times.
Every time I talk about this song, I get attacked. I love her. I think she's got great energy. She's incredible on stage like Justina. She's moving around so much. She's doing an incredibly difficult performance. I like the revamp. I thought it made the song sound better. It sounded a little bit more modern, a little bit more fun. I still just think the song is a little bit dated, and I get absolutely hung, drawn, and quartered every time I say that. That is the way I feel, though. But it's fun. It's nostalgic. She's going to be throwing everything onto the stage. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, but it's this thing that some Spanish fans be doing recently about picking a song they like rather than one they think they can do well. So that's what I'm told by many Spanish fans.
I mean, I think there's not necessarily, I will say that there's nothing necessarily wrong with that because it can also yield something like Blanca Paloma, which I thought deserved better and I thought really added something to the contest. I think with this, I think in fairness to the Spanish, I think they deserve better than the options they were presented with. It was really interesting when I was writing my Spain video, I talked to a lot of Spanish fan media. And basically they all agreed with me that the selection was really terrible. By the way, I mentioned Skibbity Pargman before. He's now donated $5 and said, Skibbity Parg. So thank you for your contribution as always. Trousers down. One
thing about Benidorm Fest though is if you were a male artist in Spain, would you want to enter Benidorm Fest or would you feel like you had a chance to win? The way that we've seen recently that there's this huge support for, you know, we haven't had a man win Benidorm Fest yet. Obviously, one half of Nebulosa, but you know, we've had 4 out of 4 lead female vocalists. So this year, I believe the lineup was like, was it something like 11-5 or 12-4 in terms of female male artists?
Let's take a quick
so
look.
like
I'll get it up while you keep going.
I think
Keep going.
it was
I'll
12.
get it up.
Yeah, so it's like if you're feeling that you know the Spanish fandom, more, again, not all of them, but most of them are going to be getting behind the main diva. You're kind of thinking, I haven't got a chance to win it from a male artist, so you know you're going to be missing out on a lot of potential artists that way if they feel they haven't got a chance to win.
Yeah, it was 5-3 in the final, 5 women, 3 men.
And out of the 16, though, I think it was something a little bit more skewed.
Let's quickly go. So we've got so it's 2 and 2, 3-2, 4-2, 4-3. So 5-3 in the second semi-final, and then 3-1, 4-1, 5-1. So it's 5-3. Yeah, 10-6. 10 women.
Okay, 10-6. Okay, so not that bad, but yeah, still.
It's like the anti-Finland, isn't it? Or the anti-Italy.
Yeah, they need to work together.
They balance each other out. But yeah, I think this is going to be, obviously we're talking about final chances. I'm sorry, Spain, I think it's coming last. Dead last.
I don't think it'll be last. I think there's a market for this, and she's really strong. Like her vocals alone are going to get her some jury points, I think. And it looks really well put together. There's going to be dancers. She does her flip at the end. I think that this will get some points in the jury. I don't think see it coming last, but if you look at Spain's record under this head of delegation has never been outside the bottom 5. So it wouldn't be impossible for them to be in the bottom 5 again.
See, by the way, this is one of the things I was most looking forward to about having you on stream, is that those are the kinds of things that, because I'm actually like, I'm good at sort of overarching things and getting there, but like those little things like that are the sort of things that I would have missed. So every time I hear something like that, I'm like, yes. Because
this goes deeper. This goes deeper because they had another head of delegation called Eva Mora who got them Chanel's result and Blanca Paloma. Blanca Paloma came. Sorry, I have to advocate. Blanca Paloma came 17th. She did not come bottom 5. It wasn't this big disaster. She did not do well in the televote, but she was 17th, which is like their second best result, I think, in the last 9 or 10 years. So that was Eva Mora. She got 2 amazing results, and then she got kicked out or removed. And then we had the other lady come back.
Yeah, it's a mess. It is a mess. Let's see what they do next year. But for now, we will go to the next song, which is one of my personal favorites, and a song I'm not seeing get enough love. This, I think, is just total anathema to the Eurovision fandom. It's totally out of what I think the Eurovision fandom usually engage with, in general. And I say that with respect. I just think there's certain genres that we drift towards as a fandom, certain ones we drift away from. Kian, thank you so much for those 5 gifted subs, by the way. And thank you to Peach Pepsi and Tomlet. I saw you subscribe before as well. Don't think I missed it. This is one of my favorites of the year. I absolutely love it. I think it's great. It's really up my street. I love this kind of prog style. And I find it, I'm not going to get the map. I know everyone will want me to get the map. But every time, what I've been doing for the last few weeks, every time someone says this isn't going to qualify, is I get the Ukrainian diaspora map up. And I'm just like, look at this map. Look at this map and then tell me that Ukraine will not qualify. This is going to sail through top 5 in the semi-final, I think, comfortably. It is going to do great. And I'm so glad we have something like this in the competition. That's my Ziefelblatt rant for this week. What do you think, Tom?
Fire.
I 100% agree. I think this is an absolutely wonderful entry. I think it's a little bit underrated. Like you said, that's fine. There's certain genres that the fandom like and don't like. It does irk me a little bit when people say that this wouldn't qualify if it wasn't for solidarity and desperate support, because I think this is a wonderful entry. It's so beautiful. It's so unique. Ukraine kill it with staging. Even before 22, Ukraine were always in the top 8 of semifinals. Always. So it's not like they sucked and now they suddenly are doing really, really well. They were amazing before and they're doing amazing since. obviously there's a little bit of solidarity, but this would get through anyway because this is really well sung. It has a beautiful melody line in it from the female vocalist. Beautiful staging. I love this blue to orange ombre, this kind of like opening sunset. The meaning of the song is beautiful. I love the song title as well. It's really cool, this play on words. Wonderful entry. Ukraine are so good in Eurovision. They deserve so much credit for their results. So it irks me when people are like, oh, this is only getting through because of solidarity. I think that's BS.
Yeah, and I think actually I really want to drive this point home a second. Like if we quickly go to like let's have a little look at Ukraine in Eurovision. Like there is nobody can tell me that this isn't like the most insanely good run of entries. Every single one, but they haven't missed once. Like, you know, I know for example Time by O Torvald didn't do too well, but I actually really like that song as well.
But it's because they're hosting. It's when they host. So same with Razem Nas Bahato, which was their song when they hosted in in the noughties. When they host, their song is not as good. I think they're literally like, we need to focus on hosting. Every other year, quality.com.
100%. And this, of course, has my favorite song of all time in Eurovision, which was Gravity by Zlata Ognjevich. It's just
No way.
really, really special.
Is that really your favorite song ever?
Yes, it is. I adore it. I absolutely adore it.
You want me to carry you into Gabe HQ? We could do like a reenactment.
Yes, no, please. I don't weigh very much, so you'll probably be able to pick me up on the first stream, and then you just sort of dump me down in the shot. And I'll...
Perfect. I'm gonna start training. I'm gonna start doing Gabe shoulder presses so I can get ready to cradle you in.
Yeah, no, that would be really fun. You could wear stilts or something as well, because otherwise, yeah, unless you're like 7 feet tall, which is, if memory serves, you're not quite that tall.
Yeah.
You need to. So we really need to like maximize it. What I find really funny is obviously that guy, and rest in peace, spent the entire week he was at Eurovision complaining about how much he hated the contest.
No way.
Yeah, he spent the whole week on his Facebook profile just being like, "I hate it here. This is stupid. Like, no, people won't leave me alone." So. But, you know, that's probably why he came on stage. He looked really done with it. Like when he sort of put it down and just sort of wandered off. Anyway.
It was kind of random. Like it is kind of like a slightly random intro to the song.
Yeah. At the same time, I think it's it's that kind of silliness that sort of sums up that era. I do want to highlight one more comment before we move on, which is from Gail, who's donated £2. Thank you so much, and says, "Bird of Prey is helping me battle breast cancer." I just want to say, Gail, all the best. I really hope everything goes well for you. I know everyone else here is going to agree too with that. And also thank you, Grackle of Welchmertz, who donated before. But yeah, let's get a lot of love in chat for Gail, please, everyone. Meanwhile, we are going to move to the next song, and I think this clearly isn't qualifying personally. It's going to come last in the semi-final. No, seriously, this is going to win the whole contest. Like, I'm becoming more and more convinced by the day. This is a phenomenon. Like, it's starting to take on like sort of cha-cha-cha characteristics, but with a better jury potential. I'm getting more and more excited all the time. This is going all the way. And obviously this is qualifying, and I think it's probably going to win the semi. What do you think, Tom?
Yeah, I think if you're a betting person and you wanted the safest option, you'd have to go for them right now. It is so solid. And I also love the fact it's so incredibly different for Sweden to send a humor entry in Swedish from Finnish people. Like, there's so many things about this I absolutely adore. Yeah, I think it would take someone else doing something crazy in the rehearsals like Austria or Finland, something really incredibly wild, which is possible with Fredrik Rudman, who's doing France's staging this year, who did Nemo's staging last year. So it is possible, but like, we kind of know what Sweden are going to do because they take their Melody Festival and staging. They do a couple of like tinkering upgrades. So we kind of know what we're going to get. And that package is so freaking solid for the jury and the televote. So yeah, like the sensible thing is that this is going to win.
Mm-hmm. I think as well, I'm excited to see what this means for Melody Festival now, because
yes.
I think it's going to change the way, because it took a lot to convince Sweden to do something different. But now they have done, especially if this is rewarded, if they end up winning, I think it could actually change the voting behavior of Swedes in the long run. Because if they see,
Absolutely.
oh, we can be a bit fun and silly, we can send a song in Swedish, all of a sudden, if I'm Medina or someone like that, I'll be going, hey, maybe I should come back to this again, and maybe I can actually win it. And maybe the Swedish public will be more receptive to me. And I think it could dramatically shift. It could really, Melody Festival needed something to kind of shift its trajectory slightly.
Absolutely.
And I think this might be it. And I'm so excited for Melody Festival next year now. I'm going in with a totally open mind.
I 100% agree. This broke a glass ceiling. And I think it's arguable that this maybe wouldn't have happened if there wasn't so much data. We had Spotify numbers, we had streaming numbers, we had view counts, we had all this data that basically Swedish people could see. Everybody loves this. Plus social media, people saying, Sweden, please send this. So it's arguable that maybe if this was a while ago, maybe Swedes wouldn't have believed and they might not have chosen it. But there was so much evidence that people love this entry. And yeah, this is going to be great for next year for Melody Festival. It's the kick up the ass that I think Melody Festival needed.
Yeah. And I think it's amplified as well because a couple of people have mentioned now, a little uncharitably, the chat during Melody Festival and branded Måns' staging the Monsusi because of its appearance and similarity to a certain. Yeah. Anyway, but basically, people. It is actually a good point to mention Revolution because you had in opposition to this, it was like a direct choice for Sweden between the most trite example and the most like distilled example of that kind of thing they've been doing for the last 8, 9, 10 years. It was the final form of that versus something totally different. I think that actually amplifies the effect because it felt like an active, even though Måns didn't lose by very much, it felt like a rejection of him and of that style. And obviously, knowing what we know now, it was clearly a bullet dodged. Now,
Måns' song was the final boss of contrived, sterile, overproduced, soulless,
full of platitudes.
really amazing show to look at. Yeah, it had no soul to it. It was so hyper competitive. He admits he's a competitive person, but this felt so incredibly contrived. Like, what strategy can we use to try and win Eurovision without real feeling?
Yeah, and it lost something as well because Måns also, you could level some of these criticisms at some of the past entrants, but like for example, Marcus and Martinez were very sympathetic characters, and they were really nice boys, and they had this great charisma about them. Måns sort of played the laid back, I'm just here to have fun guy in advance, and then totally blew it to bits. Like I've never seen. It's one of the worst crash outs I've ever seen at Eurovision. But I think it's obviously interesting knowing what we now know is that we may have actually seen what a person that existed behind closed doors for a long time before, and this was just the moment that it burst out.
I have to admit, I was at Melody Festival last year, and you could see the green room. They were like right in front of me, and Marcus and Martinez, I was looking at them after they finished their show, and they went up to everybody, and everyone was hugging. Like there were no cameras on them. It was a legit moment. Everybody loved them. They were going up to Medina. They're going up to everyone. That everyone was like congratulating them. They're like really genuinely nice people.
I think in a lot of ways they're actually quite similar to Vibe because they've grown up in the same generation. And actually, it's and it's this similar kind of dynamic, like we're brothers doing this together, and it produces this kind of very relaxed kind of feeling. Anyway, I'm gonna speed on because we're running behind already. Because of course we are. Because I am a total yapper. We're gonna go to Portugal, Napa, Deslocado. There are some Deslocado lovers in chat. Sort of song I'd love to listen to in the car, but I want to get it. I really want to get it. But in the middle of my emotional moment, Banana Bread tipped $20 and said, "You better say something good about Kyle Alessandro." Well, you just bribed me enough money, so yes, now I will. No, I'm kidding. I always was going to. I just don't see a path for this at Eurovision, I'm afraid. And I'm worried for it. What do you think?
It's a beautiful song with very lovely lyrics. Actually, as someone who works remotely, when I was reading these lyrics, I really felt them big time. You don't see that in the staging. The staging in Festival da Canção was absolutely just bare, like it was pretty much nothing. And then in the pre-party circuit, which in fairness is not meant to be a finished thing, they haven't really shown anything else. In the Madrid pre-party, they had a couple of photos up on the screen of like dogs and people hiking, which was a little bit more of a storyline. But other than that, it's so sleepy. It's snoozy, sleepy. And it's gonna be unique in one sense, but it just doesn't feel like very strategically Eurovision. Portugal always have a chill vibe, and they've qualified for the last 4 years with chill songs. But I feel like those songs were stronger, and the starting package was more developed than this is. This needs so much elevation to qualify.
I agree. The thing that I'm holding on to is, remember, nobody saw Love Is On My Side coming in 21. And then it arrived and they had kept it simple, but they'd found a way to make it really nice and really quite romantic and really meaningful. And so I'm holding out hope for them to do that, because when I saw I didn't listen to Love Is On My Side basically at all ahead of the contest. I had it like once or twice and sort of dismissed it. But then it changed for me, right? That's entirely possible with this. That said, I would love to see something loud and angry from Portugal soon. I feel like we've seen this really beautiful side of the Portuguese music industry the last few years. Be nice to see something a bit unexpected,
Well, the public voted for Henke. They put her number one because of this. I hate this system that not just Festival Canção, Ukraine use it as well. So does Germany. This where points are converted. Henke got 0 from the jury, 12 from the televote. She was eliminated. As soon as the jury happened, she was already eliminated. Doesn't matter if she got 20 billion trillion votes. She's gone. So Portuguese people did choose her. I think Napa were second in the televote.
Yeah, but I did actually work this out. If you did it proportionally, then Henke would have won. If you'd kept the jury scores.
If it was okay.
If you'd kept the jury scores as they were, thank you so much for the $4.20 from Helix Cookie. You're hearing a lot of Loco Boombox tonight, guys. Sorry about that. And Fancy Confetti, by the way, said that they're delighted to see their two favorite YouTubers collab, which warms my heart. Thank you. I forgot what I said. Oh yeah. So if you don't merge the jury points down into a 1 to 12, and then you assign the televote points proportionally based on the percentage of votes received, Henke would win. So I'm sad about that, but such is the way. Now, I've been bribed to be nice about this song, but I was going to be nice about it anyway. What I'm going to say, though, is this song was a bit of a blank canvas, and then Kyle Alessandro shows up, gives a great performance, and makes me go, okay. But I don't listen to the studio cut. Live performance, great. Studio cut is my thoughts.
Oh, I listen to this all the time.
Well, explain it to me. Explain it to me. For someone who hasn't quite grabbed it in the same way.
This is like just pure Scandi pop. This is like, when Melfest has a great song or MGP has a great song, this is just like pure switch your brain off, like 90s style music video Scandi pop. I love this. It's no, there's no depth to it whatsoever. No, that's a bit harsh. There is some depth. He did write it. I think he wrote it with one other person. But like, this is just wonderful pop production. I think this is fabulous.
I will say that I do really enjoy it when I see him do it live, because he's so slick. And he performs it so well. Like, he can dance and he can sing, which not many artists can do at the same time. And what Do has just donated £5 and says, I actually do kind of agree with. It's very accessible, it's slick, and it's catchy from the first watch, unlike songs that have to be growers. We do have a lot of growers, and it's true that you'll hear this once, and it'll probably capture you. Whether that will be strong enough of a capture for you to pick up the phone, I don't know. It is interesting, though, how before MGP, everyone was kind of going, oh, are Norway going to qualify this year? And then afterwards, that conversation stopped like that. Because they saw this live and they're like, okay, he's going to be just fine. And I think now he's looking safe. I have him down basically entirely safe, actually. What do you think?
Well, that's the nature of national finals, is that, like, I think Norway and Ukraine, in my opinion, this year were very weak national finals who had strong winners. So, at the end of the day, you're only judged on the song that wins. So Norway and Ukraine can both qualify, and then it doesn't matter if the national finals weren't great. Like on the flip side, I thought Latvia was one of the strongest national finals, which I love that Demetrius. We'll talk about them later, but had a kind of reverse result. Um, yeah, this is like more kind of mainstream, broad appeal, family friendly. We've got lots of crazy songs in semi-final one, and this is like a little bit more familiar, recognizably Eurovision appeal. So I think that's going to actually help it being more normal and recognizable.
Yeah. I think it would be in a better. I mean, I think it's going to be fine anyway. I think it would be in a better position if it was where Sweden was. If it had had Ukraine immediately before it, people who wouldn't get Ukraine at all would maybe be more likely to engage with this.
He's going to pop after Portugal, though. He's going to wake people up.
That's true. That is true. Although it's interesting, I guess, because of the lack of ballads in the first half, why we then get the next song, which is because Belgium's in the second half. I'm not sure about this Norway then Belgium thing when you could have just flipped Belgium and Italy, and I'm actually not sure why they're this way around and not the other way around. But nonetheless, Belgium is the next song that we're going to be talking about, which means I know the chat. I already saw the first message is going to be full of people saying "Go Blights." Literally, there's so many of these now. Like basically, the way these things generate is first, everyone loses their mind on my Discord. And by the way, if you want to join the ESC Game Discord, there is a link in the description. Make sure to go and do that. Sorry to the mods who are now going to get a raid alert because they do every week when I bring up the Discord. Now everyone's saying "Go Blights." Yeah, no, okay. Cotton Candy Jays, indeed. Oh, right. Let's just try and talk about this song. I've spent the whole season being convinced it's completely fine. I still think it's completely fine. But I've seen some people thinking, maybe this could be a shot non-qualifier. Do you understand that point of view? Do you think it's likely to happen? Or do you think it's safe as well?
Yeah, I do. I think it's a potential to be a shot non-qualifier, but I still think he's probably going to make it through because it does sound and look very unique. But it's kind of crazy. I think he's 7th or 8th in the winning odds. And then in the qualification odds, he's 9th, which is kind of insane that he's higher to win than he is to qualify. This has got 0 OJE points, which I think is probably my biggest surprise from OJE results. Obviously, it's one demographic or one group of people. But I thought this would get more Eurofan love considering it's so highly ranked. So, yeah, I kind of agree with 9th in the qualification odds. That seems kind of like, I'm like 45% chance. It's his birthday, though. So if you don't want him to have a miserable birthday, you got to vote for him.
Exactly. I think it's slightly safe. I mean, we'll come to it later, but I think it's slightly safer than that. The people demand a poll. A poll on... 1 second. I have to appease the terrifying hordes who demand a poll. I'm going to ask them if Belgium is going to qualify or not. Twitch mods, you deal with this on Twitch. I'll deal with it on YouTube. So, I don't know if you've seen... Basically, I did a poll once. And once I'd done a poll once, everybody kind of was like, now we demand polls all the time. So,
great.
Here we go. Because everybody likes pressing button. So we'll see what they say.
Can I vote? I'm voting in the poll as well.
Don't tell us how you voted until the end, just so you don't.
Oh yes, that's true. Sorry.
So this is fairly conclusive so far, but we'll let it play out. I'm going to give some more of my thoughts on this personally first. Is it has actually grown on me. I found myself listening to it a little bit more. One thing that struck me as interesting: the staging made Red Sebastian seem huge, like really tall, imposing. At least that's how I found it. And then I met the guy, and he's really short.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's like 5'6", 5'7". I thought he was like 6 foot tall and like a sort of big, hench guy based on the national final performance. Nothing like that. The hive mind demands button. All right, we're ending the poll. And so 74% of people on Twitch say yes, 65% on YouTube. So people are fairly sure. And I feel like that probably reflects our confidence as well. You know, this kind of, yeah, he's just about there, but, you know, maybe a little worry here or there.
What was the final percentage?
65% yes on YouTube, 74% yes on Twitch.
I'm more, yeah. I don't want to say what my results are, but yeah, I agree with one of those more than the other.
Now, we're moving on to another pre-qualifying song, which is Italy. Now, I've received a lot of feedback, a lot of discourse on my most recent video where I tier listed all the songs from this year. Where I was basically like, I don't get it. It isn't clicking for me. I appreciate him as an artist, and actually his back catalogue, his discography is great. One of the best discographies, in my opinion, of the year. But I'm just not clicking with it. A bit like Deslocado, I'd listen to it in the car on a sunny day, and I appreciate it for that. I'm not getting it for Eurovision yet. What are your thoughts?
It's interesting you compare it to Deslocado. That's a great comparison, but this does work for me. I think this is wonderful. It's very beautiful, classical, elegant. It feels timeless, like it's 70s and 80s and 90s. I get a little bit of Postman Pat as well. I'm getting like lovely, safe cartoon space feel. I think this is really, really pretty. I love the autobiographical element of the lyrics. I love the sunflowers with sunglasses on. I think this is really lovely and broad appeal. I think this can do surprisingly well with the televote in the final. Not like way up the top, but better than you might think.
I think we might get like a Marco Mengoni style result. Not quite as much. I don't think he'll get like 150 from each. But maybe like 70, 80 from each might be a reasonable expectation. And that would probably push him towards the top 10. Because if he gets 160, 170 points, that's going to put Lucio there or thereabouts. I just don't think it's going to push for those like high points. You know, I can see it getting a lot of 3s and 4s. But having a very
I think this is going to get a much bigger. Sorry.
No, you go.
Sorry to interrupt you there. And I think it's going to get a much higher jury score than the televote score. But keep in mind, Italy have been top 7 every single year since 2017. So they're on a streak of being top 7. I'm not saying this is definitely coming top 7, but like, you know, there's a streak there for a reason.
And that would, if it weren't for No Degree of Separation, that streak would go back an entire decade with Grande Amore.
Yep.
The original televote robbery. Moving on to Love Me Again by John Newman. Sorry, Run With You by Mama Gama from Azerbaijan. It's interesting because there are quite a lot of British Euro fans who like this. I don't. And also, I will say now, I'm going to throw this to you in a sec, Tom, for your take, and then we'll quickly move on. If you guys want to know about my position on Azerbaijan, the same is true with Israel. I have a full video on my channel about how I feel they are exploiting the contest, how I feel Israel are exploiting the contest. And I would encourage you to go and watch that later. Tom, personally, I think doesn't work for me. What's your view?
It feels kind of one of the more mainstreamy songs in the national, like there's so many big personalities, and this just seems a little bit more like in the middle, kind of mellow, which could be a little bit of an advantage if everyone else is going so wild. There's a little bit of an ethnic bit in it, which feels a tiny bit tacked on. It doesn't feel super like well woven into the song. His vocal's quite difficult to do. He's got this like slight falsetto, which I think he's done in the pre-parties okay. This could be a bit of a surprise, but I think Azerbaijan's been 14th in the last 2 years. So it also wouldn't surprise me if this came 14th as well, but I feel this is kind of a bit borderline. They did like a story in their music video of them being like robots brought to life. So it depends if they do something like that or if they go for a band feel. I think if they go for the band feel, it won't work because Ukraine and Portugal are also doing the same thing.
Yeah. I will say that it's really clear, looking at the staging for Azerbaijan in the last couple of years, I think the budget has fallen off a cliff. I think they have nowhere near the kind of money and also the kind of intent that they used to have. You know, and
well, they've stopped using foreign songwriters. They used to use Swedish people a lot, like their 2013 song was written by Anders Bagger. And then they used Borislav Milanov a couple of times as well. So it seems like they're going more self-written songs, self-performed. That's their new strategy.
In any case, I'm not optimistic. Another song that I'm not sure about is the song where last week we were discussing the Tutta l'Italia pasta. And now we're going to discuss the song in question, which is Gabri Pont, Tutta l'Italia. This has one big problem, which is that it's very difficult to make the audience attached to a DJ like you can with a singer. And we know the singers are not going to be revealed during the performance. That's a big problem. And we talked about Vibe earlier, and we talked about their chances compared to this. We're only getting one of them in the final, in my opinion. Tom, what's your instinct between both what you think of this and how you think it's going to interact with potential Iceland votes?
I think they've just dug themselves into a hole because, first of all, they have to have Gabri on the stage, who's behind the decks, which always looks, I think it looks a little bit goofy. Mm-hmm. And then they've got 3 singers on stage. I don't understand why they need 3, but they've got 3 male singers with their faces covered who don't move. So they've got 6 people they can have on stage, and 4 of them are basically not really moving or doing anything. And it's a freaking party song. So I just think they've dug themselves into this huge hole, assuming that that stays the same. But they've got 2 people to work with who are going to have to work their asses off to create a 2-person party on the stage. So I don't know, I think they should have maybe 1 person singing and Gabri, and then have 4 people just going absolutely freaking crazy. Or bring on the Italian mama to make some tomato sauce on stage or something. But the voicing the stage in the pre-parties, I don't think is going to work.
No, although one thing I will appreciate about Gabri Pont is that because his name already starts with Gab, it means that my Discord server can't butcher his name to make it sound like my name. Someone asks, when do we get the ESC Gabe pasta? Give me a few more years. That would be an interesting merch direction. Official ESC Gabe branded pasta.
Pasta collab. Let's do a pasta collab.
With Toga pasta. It's Tom and Gabe. Toga pasta. I think it's got a nice.
Is there a pasta? Yeah, we have to find some pastas that have our names in them and we put them together. It doesn't matter if it tastes like shit. We'll just put them together.
Yeah, precisely. I mean, every year in Eurovision we have plenty of genres being smashed together with no regard for whether it tastes like shit or not. So if they can do it, so can we. Yeah, no, I think it's a big. I think Iceland would have preferred to not to have this in their semi. But at the same time, I think they might actually end up outplaying this. It's fun, but it's interesting how at the pre-parties, he played this and he played Blue, Dabba-dee, Dabba-die. And the way the atmosphere in the crowd changed. Like, Tutta l'Italia just doesn't get people going in the same way. It'll do really well in Italy, but outside of Italy, I don't know. That's only 10 or 12 points, and you need 3 or 4
points. Like you said, Italy might give big points to Albania. Is one thing as well. There's a huge Albanian diaspora in Italy. That's where Shkodra and Electronica both live. And then also, who else was the other person that Italy might give big points to? Estonia, that we were talking about earlier. So it's not even guaranteed that they're going to get 12. Like, theoretically, they could get 8. That would be pretty bad, but it's not impossible.
For sure. Adamike says, this converts to about £4. Buy yourself some lunch or something. I don't know. Thank you very much. Lunch at my work is actually $3.95, so that's perfect. That'll be a sausage sandwich for me on Tuesday. Thank you.
He's been stalking you. He knows how much your lunch costs. That's not a coincidence.
Oh, God. I mean, I do sometimes get people sending me friend requests on my personal Facebook and stuff, and I'm like, I mean, I don't use Facebook anyway, really, so you're not going to see anything, but also don't do that. Like, please do not send me Facebook friend requests. I advertise.
I'm retracting it. I'll take it back.
Now, you mentioned Albania. Very fitting is the next song. I think we don't need to talk about whether this is going to qualify or not. Obviously, it is. The question is how high up in the semi-final. And actually, the question I wanted to pose to you, is this the best Albanian entry in Eurovision ever, full stop? I think that's a conversation we have to have this year.
Personally or like objectively?
Both.
Personally, no. I'm sorry, guilty pleasure. I love "Carry Me in Your Dreams." I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry. Actually, I'm not even sorry. I retract my apology. I effing love that song. The staging is total fever dream, mushroom hallucination, amazing. That's what I want from Sisal, by the way. What Albania had with Carry Me in Your Dreams. And I also love Suis from Ronan. In terms of Is It Squirta, this is an amazing song from Albania. This is definitely what they needed. They got into a rut of sending these incredibly powerful female vocalists who I love and who are awesome, but it was so repetitive. We just got the same thing over and over and over again, apart from Yushin Bush Pepper, who was a little bit different. And then, of course, Scott, then 11th. He came 11th or something.
Yeah, he was
But
great.
like, other than that, it's the same thing.
In my opinion, that's my favorite Albanian entry of all time. So that is what it's competing against. And I genuinely think that this could do even better. I mean, already at FIK, it was so powerful and it completely won me over because initially I didn't give FIK its dues this year. And I sort of saw Elvana was in it, dismissed it and assumed she'd win. And then I went back and I was like, I was really wrong about this. Someone in chat, only one person says that Duya is their favorite Albanian entry of all time. I guess it's one of those things is like, you know how they did a poll that when they do polling, it's like you can get 9% of people to agree with the statement, I wish like the Earth's atmosphere would evaporate and we would all get swallowed up by the sun. I assume that's the same thing. You're going to find someone who thinks that Duya is the best Albanian entry of all time. We'll come back to just how high we think this is going to go in a minute because we're almost through our semi-final countries. But I'm super optimistic about this. I'm just speeding along slightly because I've just noticed it's already 9:15. So
yeah. That's gone. If you need to cut me off, just
no. You're fine. It's me. I dovetail off on these random tangents, and I let these evil people in chat bully me into doing polls and such. Like, you guys can have a poll in a bit. I'll tell you what, guys. Your next poll, once we've listed our sort of prediction of how the semi-final is going to finish, we'll take the top 4 songs, we'll put them in a poll, and you can vote for who you think is going to win the semi-final. How about that? We agreed? Good. Now, the Netherlands. I have a really good feeling about this. I think it's catchy. I think it's accessible. But the thing that's really selling me on it at the moment, I love Claude's charisma. He is like a ray of sunshine. So full of joy and energy, and it comes through in his performances. It comes through in every interview he does, and so I think it comes across really quickly as well. So I think people are going to like him, and people are going to like him fast. So I think people are underestimating it. Obviously, it's going to qualify in my book, but I think it can end up really, really, really high on the scoreboard. What are your thoughts?
I absolutely love this. First of all, I'm just happy Netherlands are here. After what happened last year, and then we had all these kind of months of speculation, are they even coming back to the contest? The fact that they're here, one of my favorite Eurovision countries, I'm just delighted about that. But then on top of that, to have such a wonderful artist, really fantastic, accessible song that I think can do really, really well, could do really well with the jury because it is so wonderful. Love the music video. I loved his performance that he did on, I think it was the Eva talk show as well. Super charismatic. This should be top 10. If this is not top 10, it is a real super crime.
Yeah. I just want to say what is also a crime is the people saying Glord in chat. I just want you to know I hated that. Now, the thing is with this as well, I completely agree with you on the point about I'm really glad that the Netherlands are here, but also I think they played it quite well after Eurovision in that they held on to their leverage, because if you leave the contest, you lose your leverage. They played their hand well, and like it was when I heard that like the EBU Director General and stuff, the Deputy Director General was flying over to the Netherlands to meet with them in their offices. I was like, oh, they're bending over backwards, and we saw a lot of rule changes this year. Obviously, given my current position, I think it's clear that not everything has changed for the better, but I think in terms of the welfare of the artists, there has been some significant improvements, and hopefully that will reflect. Moving on from this song. Oh, go on. Last thought from you. Go ahead.
Sorry, very quick thing is they have got a new head of delegation because before it was Twan van der, sorry Dutch people, Nieuwerhuizen, something like that. And he was like one of the producers when they hosted. So they did lose him in that process. That's a little bit of a new thing coming this year, is the new head of delegation.
But Claudia van der Pas is a force of nature. You couldn't ask for, she's been involved with it for years. You couldn't ask for a better replacement.
Yep.
So I think, they're going to have somebody who is going to be really, really, forced to be reckoned with. And she's just been elected to the reference group. So the Netherlands will be on the reference group from May onwards. Now, next up, Marco Bosniak, Poison Cake. If you look towards chat in a moment, Tom, you will see them all spamming something again, because these people know no mercy and they know no rest. And this
I'm waiting.
And
Come on, chat.
This one is actually really funny. Lee subscribes for 3 months and says, "Boys, I'm Gabe."
What is it?
Boys,
Explain
I'm
it to me,
Gabe.
sorry.
Poison Cake. Boys, I'm Gabe.
Boys, okay, nice.
And credit to Tails, who invented that one randomly on Saturday, and it stuck really quickly because now everyone is at it. This one, unfortunately, with respect to Marco, who is an absolute ray of sunshine again, really lovely guy, this song doesn't make sense for him and his voice. And I think it's not going to qualify, and I don't think it's going to be in contention. I don't understand how this happened. Listen to his previous Dora song. We're in a different universe. He seemed, and I saw him perform it at London, he seemed in his element with that song. But with this, I don't understand why this is why this is the song. I understand why he's here, because he's a great vocalist. He's a great artist. This song, I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, like this is the opposite situation to what I was saying with Netherlands or with Norway and Ukraine. This I feel was a really good national final, Dora. It has like a slightly weak winner. I thought the average quality in Dora this year was really, really fun. Yeah, one thing I'll say is the Croatian delegation have got good experience in the last 2 years working with Baby Lasagna and Let 3. So hopefully they've seen, okay, this is what works. And they're able to do something kind of crazy and fun again. I want the Croatian delegation to prove that they are one of the good delegations in Eurovision, and they don't just qualify when they're given an amazing package. This is a decent package, but it's not like an obvious qualifier. This is their opportunity to prove we're a good delegation. Those results in the last 2 years were partly us as well. We're going to convert this into a qualification. It's got an amazing running order right at the end, before Switzerland, after Netherlands. I think the producers want this in because they want to have at least one former Yugoslav country in the final. I think they'll be very worried if there's 0 former Yugoslav countries.
Yeah, I mean, in general, it's a bigger conversation that I hope to have with hopefully some of the participants and some of the delegations in that region about why is it that currently it's so financially unviable for so much of the of Southeastern Europe and of the Balkans to come into Eurovision. There's things that need to be done. Basel had some interesting thoughts on this at LEP as well, which I'll definitely share with everyone at some point over the next couple of weeks. Yeah, I feel for Marco, but I just don't think there's anything that can be done to save it, I'm afraid. Now, we have 2 more songs.
I believe in Marco. I think he's got a small chance.
Okay, we'll see, but it needs a shock non-qualifier to get through. It needs a shock in the other direction. So an underperformance somewhere. We'll talk about that in a moment. We have Switzerland briefly next, which is Voyage by Zoe May. Really beautiful song. I always compare it to a warm hug. Reminds me a bit of Tears Getting Sober by Victoria, but just a bit happier, you know? What do you think?
Yeah, very beautiful. This is the type of song that you can sing when you're a host, because you don't have to be worrying about qualification. You're straight into the final. You know the jury are there. So, if Switzerland were in the semifinals, I don't think they would have chosen this song, because strategically, I think they'd be like, it's too much of a risk. But I love that this is here. It's really elegant, really pretty. Reminds me of Mary Poppins. It gives me a real nostalgic 20s, 30s, 40s feel. I feel the bit where the instrumental violins come in is a tiny bit tacked on, because I think they're like, we don't want the whole song to be too sleepy. Let's stick something onto it. But I still think it's very elegant.
The one criticism I have, because I really love the choruses especially, and it's like a big breath of fresh air every time the chorus comes on. But I find myself waiting for the choruses. So in the verses, I'm sort of like, okay, this is fine, but I want this chorus. And then I get there, and then I would just, I don't know, the verses maybe missing something ever so slightly, but overall I think it's really strong. I actually think it would have qualified comfortably anyway, had they been in the semi-finals this year. But I understand why you'd say it's a risk. I mean, it's definitely more jury focused, which is massive luxury now that juries aren't in the semi-finals. Now,
Theo Evan from the UK is doing their, not Theo Evan, Theo Adams from the UK is doing their staging, who did UK staging last year. So that's a big change up for him.
Yeah. I don't think we're going to see a sore bathroom for Zoe May. At least I hope we're not. That would be a bit weird, wouldn't it?
They're going to reuse the bathroom. She's going to be upside down and everything. It's the same staging.
Yeah. Someone called Zoe just said, it's me. I have no idea if it's that. No, it's just another person called Zoe. For a second, I was like, oh, God. I was like, Zoe, you're here? Now, I have no idea what to expect from this. Like, for me, this is a total wild card. Do you have any... Try and shed some light on what we're going to get. Because right now, I feel like this could finish literally anywhere. I'm totally lost.
Well, if you look at songs that are last in the semi-final, they have a pretty unbelievable record. They pretty much always qualify, apart from Fjord Flamme and Trina Park in recent years. So he's got an amazing running rate. I think they've put it last because something big happens. I've heard there's like a reveal of a person or something. The song is about a riddle. So, and Sergio Hayen is doing the staging, who did Bambi Thug last year. So I would have put this as a borderline no before I did my predictions. But then, knowing they put it last and there's this big reveal, something going to happen, I'm a bit more inclined to put it in as a yes now. I think
the problem this is going to have is his vocal. I think that he's been hidden away a lot during pre-party season and everything. We've never, we know so little, and that always gets me worried, right? You know, if this is as active, you know, he's been talking about how people in chat, by the way, just so you know, do not discuss leaks. We don't discuss leaks, and you shouldn't in chat either. It's not fair to artists to discuss leaks. Interestingly, though, someone saying that Theo Evan, D.O., thank you for the £5, says, Theo Evan does what Red Sebastian does in a more presentable package visually. I'm not sure I see that, but in general, I don't think Red Sebastian's song is overproduced. I think this is overproduced, and I don't like the way the vocal track sits in the mix. And the acoustic version that they posted on the Eurovision channel was weird. I wasn't a fan. And Sergio Hayen is, you know, great, right? He's really, really great. But I wonder, is Theo going to be able to deliver it? We had this conversation about Celia Capsis last year. You know, maybe a lack of experience, not really knowing what we were going to get. She came through. But this is clearly a lot more demanding. I think he could finish third in the semi if it was perfect and he's amazing. I think it could finish 14th if it's a disaster and it doesn't come together. I would love to be a fly on the wall in the rehearsals right now for this song.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's got one video. I think he was at a Greek party or something. There's one video of him singing a cappella, and it sounded okay. It wasn't like wow, but it sounded passable to me. So in terms of the vocal aspect, yeah. But yeah, it does feel like a wild card. This could go either way. I feel like if it does go through, it might be because of Sergio Hayen's staging. He's done something pretty wow. Because I think that this has 0 points in the OJE, which I think is very surprising. Because you'd think that Euro fans would like this kind of, like you said, up-tempo, slightly overproduced pop, and they don't like it at all.
Apparently he posted a video of him singing, it sounded on pitch but weak. That's interesting if he just gets lost in the mix. That said, though, that means we've been through all of the songs at the semi-final, which means, Tom, could you kindly bring out the board?
It's been sitting here this whole time, patiently waiting to be shown.
So, essentially, we are going to try and get these into an order that is a broadly consensus order between the two of us. And so I think it might be best to try and separate them out into groups as our sort of definites, you know, up the top of the order, things that are in the middle and things that we think might fall by the wayside. So are there any for you that instantly go, well, we're putting them up the top?
We have to we're putting Sweden in, obviously, aren't we?
Yeah. I think, to be honest, I'd be happy to say that's going to win the semi-final and we just leave that in first for the
Yeah.
duration.
Yeah.
I think we should put in the others in that lead group. I would put, and let me know what you think of this: Albania, the Netherlands, and Estonia. You've got Spain on there, by the way. Luckily they're not.
Yeah, I'll take that off.
Luckily they're not participating in this semi. Like I said, they'd be in trouble. So I'd put them in that leadership group, and then I'd have Ukraine probably in just behind them. Would there be any other you'd put in potential for a top 5?
No, no, I would agree. That's a top 5. Maybe no. No, let's keep it like that.
Okay. Middle group. What do you think? So we're going 6 through 10 now. This is tough. Feel free to select more than 5 entries, and we can sort of move them around a bit.
I feel like Norway is kind of in that second group, and Poland, and I'm assuming Cyprus. Like, again, the way they're Cyprus is, it's like we're not going on information we have. It's like all speculation. It feels like to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you want to put that in or not.
Yeah, and then I think let's include. I think let's have that group. I'm happy with that group of 2 of Poland and Norway. I actually think 6 and 7 is a pretty realistic place. We can move them around in a minute, of course. I would then sort of go into the uncertains group, or like the 2, like, and then I guess you've got Belgium and Cyprus there. I would then add San Marino and Iceland and Slovenia. And then with respect to Croatia, Portugal, Azerbaijan, I would then have them as the like out at the moment.
So you think 3 of these 5 are going through?
Yeah. The question for us to answer before we order these 10 in the order we actually think they're going to finish is which 3?
Wait, there has to be one surprise. They're like every single year, the odds they pretty much never get 10 out of 10. So if you look at the people who are currently out, Iceland are out, Slovenia are out. They're the 2. So I'd be kind of inclined to say there has to be at least one shock of songs that your fans don't like.
Apparently my mic volume is a little low, so I'm just going to turn it up. There we go. You should be able to hear me better now, guys. I'd be inclined. Okay, I think let's separate off Cyprus and Belgium, and have those as our 8 and 9.
Okay.
And we'll reorder them in a minute, and go down to these 3, and have a think about is there of those 3. I mean, we could probably make an argument for each. Do you have any kind of gut feeling about which one now? I have one, but it's also obviously based in emotion.
Well, the emotional one's Iceland. Like, I want that through. I'll say about San Marino is people don't show up for San Marino. They've got a really the second weakest qualification record, just above Montenegro, and they've never been top 15 in a Eurovision final. So, like, I don't know. Are people? How do you stage this? How do you stage San Marino's song and make it into a party? How do you explain to people why a guy from San Marino is singing about Italy? Well, he's not from San Marino, but people at home think that's where he's from.
Yeah, I think San Marino, let's make San Marino 12th so we can move it down to that lower group then, if you're happy to do that.
Yeah.
So
I don't want to bully you into sorry for your San Marino stan.
No, that's okay, because I mean, like I say, I'm not sure about it, but that leaves us with 2. Now, I know this is our ranking, but do we want to decide this order? And I'm going to say the word. This is like when you tell a dog it's time for dinner or walkies. With a poll.
Wait, I need to vote on this poll.
Oh god, they're already losing their minds. Right.
I'm one of the rabid poll fans. I love a poll.
Okay, I'll leave it with the mods to do this on Twitch. Choose your qualifier. Try and put aside emotion for this one. I know who I want, but vote based on like logic here. I'm not saying that should change your answer. For me, it doesn't change my answer. There we go. It's out on YouTube now. It'll be out on Twitch shortly. Once we have these polls, yep, it's up on Twitch now. So what we'll do is then once we have these 10, we'll decide about order. I actually feel like this one's not very difficult, and semi 2 is going to be way harder. We're going to have to blitz through semi 2, by the way. It's already...
That's grand, yeah.
Right. We'll let the poll go. It's pretty clear answer from the audience about who they think is more likely to qualify.
But this is the thing. If Eurofans show up for them, then that can become a reality. I really do feel like they need Eurofans to show up for them big time. And that is possible because they're very beloved and they've built a lot of love from the community in the pre-party circuit.
Orroof, thank you very much for that subscription. I think the other thing is Eurofan votes are much more relevant in the semi-final because the voting volume is so much lower. So we are an outsized influence in the semi-final. All right. The result is very clear. It's 85% Iceland, 15% Slovenia, both on YouTube and Twitch. So I'm going to assume... Let's put...
Quick question. Quick question. One of these three doesn't qualify. Who is it? Who's the surprise out of those three?
Who could be the surprise out of Norway, Cyprus, and Belgium?
Norway, Cyprus, Belgium. Yeah, we're gonna have to have one. We have to have one surprise. We need to put in a shock non-qualifier.
I'm seeing at the moment, no one's saying Norway at all, but I'm seeing a lot of Cyprus and Belgium. The people are demanding another poll. I'll tell you what, we'll give them their poll.
Sorry, I just pushed you into a poll corner.
That's fine. We'll have another poll, and I'll poll all three of those songs we just mentioned. And then while they're doing that, we will start from the bottom and start putting these in an order from the bottom to the top, from the sort of general consensus. Although I don't think we're going to have to adjust that much from what we already have. Okay, start a poll. Which is most likely to shock? The chat is moving so fast right now. Honestly, all of you are terrifying. You all scare me very much. So we're going to put in Norway, Belgium, and Cyprus. And we're going to start a poll. There we go. YouTube, vote now. Twitch, you'll vote in a second. Now, so I guess we're going to have Slovenia 11th, San Marino 12th. Based on the conversation we just had. So, of those other three, Portugal, Azerbaijan, Croatia, what order do you think they'll be in? It's tough being this specific.
Well, I think Portugal, that 4 qualification record doesn't come out of nowhere. I think the Portuguese delegation knows how to do these type of songs, so I think this can qualify. It would be a shock, definitely, but it's not impossible.
Would you want to put it above San Marino in that case? I'd be open to that. Okay, let's do that. Yeah. Let's swap those two around. As for the other two, I'm kind of happy.
I love if San Marino go through. I'm not hating on it, but I'm just looking at patterns.
It's tough. So I'm happy with that bottom 5 order now, to be honest, because I think Croatia is going to come last, with all love to Marco.
Yeah. I would be their Azerbaijan's third 14th place in a row. So that's like their new thing, is coming 14th.
Maybe if we go back to one semi-final, they'll be like, yes, finally, 14th place is going to get me through.
They're going to get the rules changed, so it's 14 qualifiers, and they can just come 14th every year.
Maybe they should spin up the old... in fact, no, I can't say that. That might be I shouldn't say things that could be litigated later. Cyprus is the shock NQ, by the way. 50% Cyprus, 41 Belgium, 8 Norway on YouTube, then 52, 42, 6 on Twitch. So very similar results. Looking at that top 10, there's a couple I would change in this order. I'd put Estonia second. I think Estonia second.
Yeah, these are all random. These aren't...
I'm presuming we're going like across left to right in rows. I think that's the best way to do it, to keep them all on the screen.
Yes.
Other than that, I'm pretty happy with this. I'd maybe swap Cyprus and Belgium.
I think Ukraine's probably going to be a little bit higher, maybe.
Where would you go?
People are going to show up for Ukraine this year. I would almost put them third. I think, especially what happened, I don't want to get too political, but what happened with Zelensky in the White House this year, I do think Europeans are going to be like, he got so much support. I think people want to show that support this year.
Okay, I take your point. In that case, shall we slide the other two down and put them in third or fourth? Yeah, third, I think. I'm
It does feel like a toss-up with these four. Like I can see any of them coming second in the semi-final. I do think it's got who's got the best staging. Like we know that Albania's staging is tough because they need to manage Kole and what he does on stage after he does his verse.
So, in that case, I mean, I'm pretty happy with all of this, but that top four, what we could do, I think Sweden, and I think chat will agree too, Sweden's a pretty clear winner here, right? I'm not sure there's going to be many people who don't think that Sweden are going to win the semi-final. So I actually don't think it would be that interesting to do a poll on who of the top four is most likely to win. I think it's more interesting to do a poll on second through fifth. So should we do that now?
Yep.
I'll get that set up. This thing, I have to say, I've kind of got really into the polls as well because everyone just gets so excited for them. It puts a smile on my face. Who will come second in semi-final?
If you're gonna have polls, do it in the semi-final with Poland. That's the most appropriate place to have the polls.
I like that. Although this is the thing, every time we talk about Poland, there's loads of people who always make that pun. So it will go down well in this chat. Right. So we have Estonia, we have Ukraine, we have Albania, and we have the Netherlands. I really don't know which way this is going to go. So I'm super curious to know what people will think of this. That has just gone up on YouTube now. It'll be up on Twitch shortly. Again, put aside your personal biases.
If you go by running order, these two are the latest. Albania and Netherlands are right near the end. Ukraine have a real massive history of doing amazing staging. And Estonia is early. It's fourth in the running order, but it's got gonna have a huge casual love.
It's extraordinary how close this is. Every single song is between 20 and 30% right now.
Wait, let me vote. I haven't voted. Don't close it.
Don't worry, I won't yet. Although it's interesting that Albania is doing a lot better on Twitch, which I think suggests that Twitch audience, because I know, for example, it does really well on ESC Discord. I think Discord users are more likely to be watching on Twitch, which would probably explain that difference. You guys still have time to vote.
Whoa.
Make sure to get your votes in. This is the closest poll I've ever seen on this channel.
No, that's crazy. I'm watching and I'm salivating. What? It's like almost all four of them are 25.
But this is the thing, right? It's such an interesting... I mean, you have this battle in semi-final too, but it's kind of higher stakes because it's potentially for one qualification spot, right? Okay, so Twitch says 33% Albania, 27% for Estonia and Ukraine, tied, and Netherlands 13%. YouTube, we're closing it now. YouTube says, remember, much higher voting volume on YouTube. The poll has just disappeared. I pressed close and it hasn't given me the results. There we go. There they are. Albania 26%, Estonia 25%, Ukraine 25%, Netherlands 23%. It's within a rounding error of a tie. Wow. So
if it was phone a friend on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, it would be totally useless.
Totally useless. But I mean, that shows how strong that battle is.
But we want that. We want semi-finals that are unpredictable. Like, this is the thing. We're getting more data from odds and from streaming numbers. We don't want the contest to become super predictable. We want surprises. That's the juiciest thing that happens. So I like that there's an unknown entity.
For sure. Just had a super chat, 59 Norwegian kroner from the Wrath of Dumbledore, who says, when you're forced to censor yourself, that's a damn worrying indicator. Love from the whole family. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much for that. I can't comment on beyond what I've already said, but what I will say is what I've said before, which is that I am not willing to change my position, and I will continue with what I do, and that's that really. Everything else is secondary, and you guys are gonna get the same coverage from me anyway. I'm not gonna let anything affect that. So. We are now going to go...
We have a lot of support as well from the other Eurovision community. So
thank you. And I should say, from yourself and everyone, the rest of fan media who've been reaching out and saying, and just the kindness has been, it really, really means a lot. Now, we must get on to semi-2. Now, we're going to speed through this quickly because it's 9:40 here. So we'll try and go for maybe about another 40 minutes or so before both of our brains melt out of our ears.
okay. I'm doing okay. I feel good. I'm enjoying myself.
Okay, I'm happy to go a bit longer. I'm just conscious I'm in the living room. My girlfriend
Oh, yeah, of
is
course.
in the other room. So as long as she's happy for us to go a little bit longer, I'll go a little bit longer. But I don't want to like keep her out of the room too long. Chobo, yeah, says, "You're so funny. Please don't go bald." I'll try. Aya, yeah, gifts 5 subs, gifts 5 memberships, even in the YouTube chat. Thank you so much. Big support of the channel. I see your name regularly supporting, and it means the world. Thank you so much. And Cynthia says, "It's okay. Okay, we'll get through it. We'll probably aim for about another hour or so." This is the thing, like, right, once you get into it, you get in the zone, your brain kind of switches on, and it's like, you know. And I think as well, the excitement, we're so close to the contest now that I really feel the excitement carrying me away.
What day are you arriving in Basel?
I'm there from the 10th until the, and then I'm there for a couple days afterwards. Are you also arriving on the 10th?
I see you at the airport. I think I arrive in I should probably find that out. That's important information. I'll probably see you in the airport.
Perfect. I'll see you there. I'm going to be doing a stream on the 11th as well. We should talk about that. But we'll talk about that later. For now, we are going to talk about the Milkshake Man. As we established the other day, it seems I do in fact want a taste of him because I actually really like this song now. Australia. It's grown on me. It's really well produced. I actually think this kind of production is where we need to go with pop in Eurovision. What do you think, Tom?
Love it. I absolutely love this. I think it's very Australian. I'm getting a real Australian, like the humor, the personality. I think he's wonderful. I think it has this fabulous production. If you actually listen to how beautifully it's been woven together, I understand the lyrics. Some people find it a little bit off-putting. I totally get that. But yeah, I think this is wonderful. I think the casuals are really going to enjoy this. Earlier in the season, I was thinking this could be a potential winner. I've gone off that now quite a lot, but I think it could still do pretty well.
I think he could sneak a top 10 for sure. And I think as well, he is so likable, and he's run, beg your pardon. Thank you so much for the $3.33 from Levi. That's why you just heard Loco Boombox. I don't know if you can hear it, Tom, but Loco Boombox plays on the stream every time someone donates.
No, I know that's your jam, though.
Honestly,
I can't hear it, though.
I feel very proud of the way I've shit posted Loco Boombox into like the conscience of the wider Eurovision fandom. Like, although when he came 14th on the national final top 100, I was like, have I gone too far?
No, you haven't.
Apparently,
it needs recognition.
Apparently, it was briefly in second place. Like, there was a point in the voting where it was second. I think that would have been. I mean, I definitely wouldn't have wanted it to win because I think it's funny if it does well. If it won, I think everyone would be like, "Come on!" Like, anyway, we move on.
I'm just doing the magnets for. I think that's semi-final too. I can't remember the running order, but I'm pretty sure that's it.
Looks about right. Montenegro next. I really like Nina Zizic, and Igranka is one of my favourite Eurovision songs of all time. But for me, I think the Balkan ballads we've got this year, maybe, I think in this case, Nina executes it so well. Such a great singer, such a beautiful voice. I just don't know whether the song has a high enough ceiling to go through to the final at the moment. So I have it struggling to get there. What's your position?
I think they said, "Welcome back to the contest, Montenegro. Here's the shittest possible running order you could possibly event." If they were in the second half of the first semi-final, this could actually pop a little bit because there aren't that many female artists, there aren't that many ballads. She could be really special. Instead, she's been put in the first half of the second semi-final in the death slot. This just kills that. It was already going to be tough to qualify. This is like an absolute death blow. Plus, it's got a 20-second instrumental at the start, which could be good for staging if Montenegro had a good staging record, which they don't, or if they had a lot of money, which they don't. No. So there's so much potential for this to just go absolutely south. She's amazing, returning artist in the second running order slot, same as Justine in semi-final number 1. I don't see it going.
Yeah. The other thing is it has a big problem in the form of Mila, because it's operating in the exact same lane as another song in the semi, and it splits its only voter base in half down the middle. In fact, let's talk about Mila now. I think they're so well. I'm not necessarily wedded to the running order here. We can talk about Mila now as well. I actually think it faces a lot of the same problems. I think it's there's a little more drama to it, and because of that, it has a slightly higher chance to qualify. Personally, I prefer Dobrodošli by some distance. But I think again, it's facing all of the same problems basically, and it's in deep doo-doo.
I disagree with that now. I agree that Dobrodošli is a much better song. Like for me, way more authentic and original and entertaining. But I think Mila's got a good shot. Serbia have never been outside the top 11 in a semi-final ever, 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 ever. Plus, they're second last in the running order. Again, I think the producers want a former Yugoslav song in the final. He's an incredible performer. The song is really not great. It's super dated. But I think there's some people who like that nostalgic sound. He's going to be giving full telenovela, dreamy Fabio realness on the stage. I think there might be an audience for this. But yes, this kills Dobrodošli. I think it's just, it's so much later.
I just think that it's like, have you ever seen that video of that boxing fight where the two of them accidentally knock each other out at the same time? That's kind of how I feel about this and Dobrodošli. I think they are both really bad for each other. And I think, and there were so many variables here. Like, if Harem Girls had come to Eurovision, and then Nina Žižić would do much better because it would be playing to a different audience. Yeah. And then on the flip side, if Clickbait had stayed, if Neonoen had stayed, and we'd had Prince, then we would be in a totally different world.
This is the thing. You look at Neonoen in this semi-final. We have no rock this year, by the way, which hopefully we'll talk about at some point. We have no rock apart from Katarsis. Neonoen would have been such a standout. That's who Montenegrins chose. They were second in the televote, but that's who won. It would have not. I love Nina Žižić, love it, but Clickbait would have done much better. Nina came fourth in the televote in the Montenegro national final. That is not a great start to qualifying.
Although, in fairness, about 4 people voted in that show. It was the voting volume was so low. It's like if you got all of your neighbors on your street to vote for you, you'd get 5 points in the televote.
Yeah, that's true.
In any case, we're going to move on to your country, Ireland. Like a party, Emmy, and a little bit of optimism from me. I think she's becoming more assertive over time. I think she's selling the song better. And to be honest, I think she's doing okay with this experience at the minute. It's catchy. I know a lot of people hate this song, right? And I'm sure I'll see them in chat. There are a lot of people who really can't stand it, but it's super catchy. And there's a reason why, the Irish public voted for it. It was really interesting, seeing the kind of discourse in Ireland when this won. Everyone was like, well, it was the only one we liked. Which was strange in what was on the surface. I thought a pretty strong field. What were your thoughts of Eurosong and of this?
Well, first of all, I thought she was the deserving winner of Eurosong. At the end of the day, there were lots of great entries, as you said, but she stepped up and she had the best performance, and it just felt the most ready. So fair play to her for winning. I don't know. I just don't feel like this is in many people's top of their list. I haven't seen anyone who's had this in their 1, 2, 3. I'm sure there are a couple of people, but it's just really rare. And at the end of the day, like I said, lots of people hate it. There's people who had this in their 6 to 10 rankings, but you don't vote for that in a televote. You vote for your number 1 or your number 2, your number 3. The running order is terrible. She's third. Luxembourg is giving a similar vibe, but they come later. It's just I don't know. It's starting to feel like Bambi Thug might have been a little bit of an anomaly last year. I'm hoping I'm wrong. I would love that. But I'm also trying not to be national bias. I'm trying to be a bit more objective here.
This is interesting.
This would be a shock for me.
Because I actually disagree a little bit. I mean, we're going to come to talking about that because it's tough to predict the qualifiers from this semi. Really tough. Well, some of them are easy and some of them are very tough. I actually think that she's gonna Electric Eel Cookie, please stop spamming in both Twitch and YouTube chat at once. Well, that's something new.
That's some busy fingers.
Indeed. Now, I had to stop myself making kind of. We've talked about packages earlier on the stream when it came to Theo Evan. We talked about Theo Evans' package, and now we're talking about busy fit. Anyway, moving on. So basically, I think it's going to qualify, or at least I think it's going to be close to qualifying because it's just so catchy. It's one of the songs. I remember at Eurosong, everyone was immediately like, "Oh, bum bum, bum 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 bum." It just stuck straight away, and that's a big advantage that it has. We're going to move on to Latvia.
Do you think it can go through with this? Sorry, quick question. Do you think it can go through with the current staging?
No.
That she's had in the pre-parties and the chat in Eurosong?
No. Staging has to change.
Yep.
I think we probably agree with this. The graphics are really ridiculous, especially. I think the graphics need to change.
It looks so jerky. This jerky AI robot marching, it just looks really AI fake.
Indeed. Now, I think this one is close to my heart. These girls are so sweet, and they were so much fun to interview. Remind to check out the last live stream if you want to see all the interviews from London Eurovision Party. I think Tau Tomatoes are great. I think they're great. Their voices are beautiful. There was this really amazing moment at LEP where they and Remember Monday sung What the Hell Just Happened together, and just the richness of the harmonies between those nine was otherworldly. If it's slick, and I think it might be slick because like it's gotten better each time they performed it, I think they're in with a real chance. And I think it's going to be really, really close. We're talking like Southern Lights territory here. Like it's just in or it's just out. I'm really excited, but I'm also scared. I've grown quite fond of this, and I really would be gutted to lose it. What are your thoughts?
I would be gutted if Latvia didn't qualify after having such an amazing national final. Like Supernova this year was really wonderful. So many great songs, the quality, but also the variation in songs as well. So this kind of sends a wrong message if it doesn't qualify. It's like you can have this amazing national final and still not make it. It feels wrong. I really want this to go through. I think it's incredibly unique. I love this light thing they're doing in the pre-parties where they have like a light in their palm. It's giving me like a fairy feel, which I think fits with the song. They're fourth in the running order, which actually has a 90% qualification record in the last 5 years. So that's actually not as bad as you'd think. But yeah, I agree it's borderline. I would love Latvia to get 2 qualifications in a row after just coming off 6 non-qualifications. So I would love them in.
Yeah, I'm getting more optimistic about it. I think it's more likely now. It feels more likely now than it did a few weeks ago. Trousers down. Thanks for the $5, but please never call me daddy ever again.
I get called daddy all the time. It's a new thing as well. It's going to happen to you, Gabe. It's coming.
Yeah, it's not my favorite. Let's say that. But I appreciate the support. Just please don't call me that.
Fundamentally, it is a compliment of sorts.
I guess so. We're going to move on to, and I know where the chat is going now. Why don't you just tell me what you think of this, and I'm just going to try and not look at what they're all saying in chat because I know what it says. I know what they're saying. I don't need to see it.
They're calling you Gaddy. Is that a new thing or is
that no, not Gaddy. Please, not Gaddy. No. Garg, please. Go back to Garg. Let's just have Garg.
It's Gaddy Garg. It's giving Gaddy Garg vibes.
Anyway, through my pain, all I'm going to say is I think this is kind of a rock song too. I know you said it wasn't.
Yeah.
God, what do you think of this?
No, I actually think it's got some small rock vibes in it. Funnily enough, his performance in Madrid Party, he took his top off, and I was kind of getting like rock star vibes. I think he should lean into that to be like kind of different, is make the song look and feel more rock than it actually is, because that's going to make him stand out, especially since Catharsis is more like melancholy. So he'll be like a more energetic rock vibe. I don't know. It's kind of not been on my radar. The pre-parties has wakened me up to it a little bit. Why do they call you Garg? Is it because they think that you look like him?
Yeah, like it's a whole thing. Like every time when the Eurovision channel posts about him, the comments are full of people being like, "Oh my god, it's ESC Gabe." Like, I feel like I need to find this man in Basel.
Gaddy Garg is happening, by the way. Gaddy Garg is your new... I think you need merch.
I hate it here. I hate it here. So, you know what? This channel was a mistake. I was about to say this is going to be my last... I was about to say this is going to be my last video or stream, but I think you all know that I wouldn't give certain people the satisfaction of that. But no, it's the Garg thing. I think I need to. I think it'd be really funny to do like an interview with him or something, but reverse the roles. It's like he'll pretend to be me and I'll pretend to be him or something. I think that'd be funny. In any case, it's loud, it's naff, it's silly, but I kind of enjoy it mostly because of genuinely. Like all the things that the memes people have made and everything is really giving me a lot of laughs. And like, especially when obviously not just in Eurovision sense, but in other senses as well. There's been a lot of stuff going on in my life recently, which has been quite difficult. That kind of thing actually has really helped. So I do actually really appreciate it. IA donates 25 euros and says, Gaddy Garg. Well, I guess it's stuck. Thank you very much for that extraordinary generosity. I think we probably agree that this is a borderline, could be in, could be out, but obviously we'll come to that in a minute. So I think I might want to hold on to our comments on that front.
Okay.
So, Austria, easily through, but I'm worried about the last 30 seconds of this in particular. I haven't yet seen in any of his performances a way in which it's been appropriately translated live.
I'm excited about the last 30 seconds. I get your concern, but I think it could be a wow moment because they're using like this vocoded version of his voice, which means he's free. He can walk or run around or go upside down, or I don't know, they can do anything with him for the last 30 seconds. This has been staged by Sergio Hyan as well, who did Bambi Thug last year. So I think they need something wow in that last 30 seconds to make it believable that Austria could beat Sweden in the final. Because right now, like we said, we think it's Sweden. We need someone like Austria or France to just step up and do something huge. And that could be the last 30 seconds of Wasted Love.
Yeah, I think so far it hasn't worked. I saw it on Dancing with the Stars. It wasn't together yet. I think on the bigger stage, they'll probably do it a bit differently. They could chop his vocal like that live. And it'd be interesting to see if they'd be willing to do something like that, but I guess we'll see. Thank you, Kayla, for the $5.
I'm pretty sure he's doing playback. He's doing what Noah Carell did in 2023, I believe. Like, she didn't sing for the last 30 seconds. I'm pretty sure that's what he's doing as well.
Yeah. I guess
like,
the thing is, obviously, for that, you had a dance break. You had a dance break for that, but I don't know whether... I mean, I guess we will see. We're going to skip forward. I think for the interest of time, I'm going to skip the pre-qualified now. So we go to, I talked before about one I was very certain about with Justina, but I think I know what to expect. Greece, I have very little idea. I know she's going to give a good vocal performance, but they've given us so few clues. Do you have any idea what is going to happen here? Any thoughts?
The music video was really good. I really like the visuals in it. They're going for like a dark blue with some oranges and beiges creeping in, which is a little bit similar to Ukraine, but Ukraine's in the other semi-final. I really like the color palette there. And then I think they're going to have some imagery. I don't want to bring up any political stuff, but there's some imagery they used in the national final. I think they'll probably use that as well. I think Fokas Evangelisis is doing the staging, who's got a pretty good record. I think this will qualify, but I just think it might be a little bit forgotten in the final and do a bit of Amanda Tienford and come top 10, but no one really remembers it was there.
I mean, personally, I loved Amanda Tenfjord, and I just want to say there was one moment only in that entire final where the audience was in total silence. And it was in the intro of that song. The silence in the room. Go back, if you guys haven't already, the semi-final performance especially. Go back, and there's this extraordinary quiet. It's... I get goosebumps. I just love that. This, I think, is going to go through, but I think it has a little risk attached. If her staging isn't charismatic enough, I think you might end up with a situation where it's like, oh, well, it's someone singing on stage. Hopefully it won't be anything like the national final is my main thing. And because of that, that's why I'm getting the uncertainty from. The song, on the face of it, definitely strong enough. Just zero idea of what they're going to do with the staging. We haven't seen it at a pre-party, so we've been given very little information since that national final.
Yes, that's a good point. I don't know why she skipped the pre-party circuit, because Greece are usually there, aren't they? Marina Sadi was there last year.
Yeah. We're going to keep moving forward to Lithuania, Tavo Akis by Catharsis. There's a segment of people who think that this is not going to qualify. And I think it's just, it's so clearly through, comfortably through. Like, I'm sorry, this song is strong enough to start with, and this is a semi-final full of allies. They have the UK and Ireland and Latvia. That's like 34 points, 32, 34, 36 points, something like that. Right off the bat. But
you're talking about diaspora showing up for them, so they do need to show up for them. I've heard some of the Lithuanians on my channel have been saying that some people love this, some people hate it, some people have been like very negative about it, a bit more than normal. So we do need that diaspora to show up.
Here's the thing: even an underwhelming performance, I think it would come 6th or 7th in the semi at lowest. At lowest. I'm so sold on this song, and I really went out there on this and said this is a major, major dark horse to come really, really high. I'm going to stand by that. I still think this is so distinct and has jury appeal as well as televote appeal that it could end up finishing like 4th. I mean, in the final. I think there is a real potential for this. And the thing is when you go out there and you make such an outlandish prediction like that, you kind of have to stick by it. So I nailed my colours to the mast on this, and on the basis of honour alone, I will not budge.
It definitely should be in the final. It's quality, and I think it's better for the contest if it is, because like I said, that we have so few rock songs this year, and it is such a wonderful entry. But then, I'm sorry to be that person to compare this to Southern Lights, because I know the different types of rock, but like Southern Lights came 11th in their semi-final. They were also in the first half. Their running order was a little bit worse, but that kind of pops into my mind a little bit, because that was also quality.
I think this is more accessible than Southern Lights. I think, and melodically, it's more conventional. And I think that plays into its hands.
I hope so.
We'll keep moving forward. I mean, this is a totally clear case. Miriana is obviously qualifying. Obviously going to do well, even with the Maltese problem, and Malta can have a bit of a problem. This is so notorious already, and it's burst out of the Eurovision bubble that she's flying through, sailing over into the final, and possibly finishing high there too. Again, I have a lot of confidence about this. What do you think?
I think it will qualify. I'm not as definite as you are, because if you look at their last two entries, Loop and the Busker, which I also thought were fantastic packages, extremely entertaining. Both had pretty shitty running orders. They both came last in their semi-final. So Malta don't tend to get appreciation similar to San Marino. I'm hoping that she's going to be in the news. The mainstream media love stuff like this. They love a juicy drama story. So hopefully she gets lots of press from that and she goes through. I'd love to see her in the final. I think she's a wonderful person.
I think as well, the difference here is that there was no kind of head of steam, no media narrative, nothing built around those last two entries. They were nicely put together, yes, but there was no hype. They didn't manage to build up any momentum in pre-party season. This year, they've got more, they've dominated the headlines for weeks.
Yes.
The Eurovision podcast is in chat, by the way.
Well, I think, as well.
Eurovision is one of the best Eurovision podcasts out there, especially when it comes to all things Ireland. They are the authority, and they say serving wrong horse. There's a very small number of people who will get that.
Shout out to Eurovision are my Eurovision besties. I've been on their podcast a couple of times.
I want to be on their podcast. You guys can invite me anytime. Yeah, we'll take over. Hello, welcome to Eurovision with ESC Tom and ESC Gabe. Connor, Alex, and Lou are all tied up in the cupboard, and we've taken over.
We need to get our Gaddy Garg t-shirts when we go on the show.
Oh yes, indeed. Oh god, that one's gonna stick.
Chat, can we get some Gaddy Gargs in the chat, please?
No. And speaking of no, it's time to talk about Georgia. This is coming last in the semi-final. I've never been so sure of anything in my life.
It's so bad.
Yeah.
It's so bad. Sorry, I'm sorry. I should be more diplomatic, but it's such a mess.
It's just, it's... Yeah, I mean, this is what happens when the process starts getting, when other things seep into it. We saw this with Belarus, right? Because that Belarusian entry, before it was disqualified, was going to come last in the semi anyway, because it was awful. This is just, we all know why
it's
this
not as bad as that, but it's giving we're withdrawing next year vibes. One thing I'll say is Georgia have not missed a contest since they entered in Junior Eurovision or Adult Eurovision. So that's the only thing, apart from when they got disqualified in 2009. That's the one thing making me feel, okay, they'll be here next year, but it feels like the song that happens before you withdraw. This weird, crazy, I
kind of get what you mean. Bilbo Bongwater has just donated $50 Canadian. Thank you very much. And says, insufficient reach, and yet look at all of these donations coming in from all over the world. Someone at the EBU is worried Gaddy Garg is going to overthrow Martin Osterdahl as the true Euro Papa.
Yes.
Best wishes from Canada. I appreciate that so much. Thank you so much for your support again. I cannot thank you all enough. And the generosity tonight has been so, so humbling. Like it means a massive amount. And it's also easing my anxiety a lot for the enormous, wad of cash I'm having to throw at the contest this year in order to keep things going. But we shall continue. We shall continue here too with Euro Bruno's favorite song in the world. It is Hallucination by Sissal. I love this. I listen to it all the time. It's near the top of my on repeat. It's like, I think it's kind of a bit of a Eurofan kryptonite. Will Europe get it as much as I think I do? And I think you like this one a lot too, don't you? Or am I misremembering?
No, I like the song. I love her. I think I absolutely love her. She's fabulous. And she's actually been commenting on a couple of my videos. She's like taking on constructive criticism. She's really like, she's special. I think if Denmark qualifies this year, it's because of her, because she's open-minded and she's listening to feedback and she's trying to develop. I've been super critical of the Danish delegation because I think that they're the worst delegation in the contest right now. That's just my personal opinion. I think that she might be the one to kind of shake them awake. I'm just like, the song is called Hallucination. This should be like the easiest staging thing in the world. They should have hallucinations and camera tricks and plays on lights and fabulous LEDs. And then the staging in Dansk MGP was just absolute bare bones nothing. Like, go back and watch it. Nothing
And she
happens.
roasted it herself.
So,
she made a video roasting it herself. It was so bad.
yeah, and that's not her fault. That's the delegate. That you can't. It's a team sport. She can't do everything. She's freaking on the stage performing her ass off. She can't also be organizing the lights and organizing the concept. She needs some help. She needs a team around her. And the Danish delegation need to wake up and step up and qualify this, because it's a qualifiable song, but they've been snoozing, sleeping. Ugh, this really pisses me off. This is like my thing that pisses me off in Eurovision most. It's how lazy they are. It really irks me.
I think the thing that frustrated me, I remember like there was a Eurovoix article which said like the delegation said to that and Eurovoix do not post things unsourced. Eurovoix came out and they said like, oh, the staging is going to basically say the same for Eurovision, because that's what they were told by the delegation. Then Sissal comes around, Sissal's team come around and say, no, it's not. We're changing it completely. And it's like, super frustrating. But there we go. Like, there's a lot of great Danish artists.
The reason I was putting my hands over my face there is because I thought you were going to reference that quote that they did in 2023 when Riley didn't qualify, where they said that like I can't remember what they said, but it was like Europe didn't get our song.
Yeah, and
Did
it's
you
like,
see that quote?
Yeah, no. I remember that. It's like, no, it was terrible. Like, I made a video of my opinion, the 10 worst songs of the decade so far, and it was in that video. Riley couldn't sing.
He couldn't sing his own song.
He couldn't sing.
Sing your own song.
And no one knew how old he really was.
Number one rule in Eurovision.
Oh, God. I love how someone was like, are they fighting?
Sorry.
No, we're just aggressively disagreeing. We're going to move on to another one that I think is safely through, and actually one that I think has really done well pre-party season. That's Czechia. The big question was the dance break. I personally, let me know what you think of this. I think that question's been answered. It does work for me. What do you think?
I absolutely adore this dance break. It's my second favorite Eurovision dance break ever. Only second to Chanel. I love it. I love the way it sounds. It's so funky. I love the choreography in it. He sells it like crazy. I think he was involved in the choreography. That's speculation. I think it's so fabulous. It really makes it stand out. He pops in semi-final 2 like crazy because he just feels so different. It's risky though. I do agree that it needs to be done in a sensible way that's not alienating. But it could be a wow moment.
I am really optimistic because they executed it so well at the pre-parties, and he can really, really dance. Like, I get the impression he really wanted it in. I can't wait to talk to him about this at Eurovision. I really hope we have that opportunity. But no, it works. It works really, really well. That said, not everyone likes it. Magnus says the dance break is just them flailing their arms about a bit, though. I think it's good already. I like it how it is, and I disagree with that very much. But there's going to be more
wonderful
to it too. I think they will make it bigger for Eurovision. And the thing is, we're talking about delegations, right? We criticize the Danish delegation. One of the most resourceful delegations has to be the Czechs. I mean, think about, for example, Vesna. Vesna went on stage with, alone, no props, braids in their hair. They took something really simple and they made it work so well. They turned it into, they had that moment in the bridge, they didn't have money to spend, so they were clever instead, right? And then they took Aiko, And from, the ESCZ, I think people wrote Ico off a lot after ESCZ. A lot of people feel that deserved to qualify, and it came very, very close. Like,
Yep.
they uplift everything. The Czechs have a record of doing this, so I actually understand why this is so high in the odds. I mean, I don't think
Not all delegations are the same. Like, sorry.
No. You go.
Not all I just think that not all delegations are the same. They've got different sizes of teams. I think they get different resources. Like the Italian delegation have San Remo, so they're getting incredible artists every year. So I think all the delegations have different luck and also different circumstances. And I think the Czechia delegation work their ass off. I don't think they're guaranteed every year that they're going to get funding and that they're going to be there. I think they need to kind of prove it on a year-to-year basis. Their head of media is fabulous. He works his ass off. They all work their ass off. And I think there's other delegations which are probably just like a little bit more lax or less passionate.
Yeah, I think as well, in some ways, I think the fact that there's this constant, they take it so seriously for that reason. And they are really great with fan media and everything. They understand the potential power of it, which is fantastic. Thank you, Gliffy, for donating that membership. That's very much appreciated. I'm going to speed forward to, you mentioned Luxembourg before when we were talking about Ireland, so I'm going to go to you first. What do you think of Luxembourg?
This could be something that could do really, really, really well, or it could kind of not flop, but just maybe underwhelm in the semi-final. I did a recent tweet, like who's going to be the surprise person who comes top 7, because we had Bambi Thug last year and then we Gustav the year before. And the main result was Tautumetas from Latvia. But then I think Laura Thorne was second, as in people predicting that she's going to qualify and actually come top 7 in the final as a surprise. I think it's got that broad nostalgia appeal. I love the bit where it burns out on France goal at the start. I think that they should lean into we're the nostalgic 90s, 80s orchestra Eurovision country. I think that should be their niche in Eurovision and kind of go very old school, and this could really pop.
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about this, provided the vocal is on point, and she seems to have been pretty good at the pre-parties. This is one that I have as sort of a qualifier, but as one where it's like, well, if something goes disastrously wrong, then it could fall out. But I'm feeling pretty good about it. I think over the season, it's looked better as the other songs, as things have fallen into place and it's sort of stood out. I think it does have that old-timey feel, which nothing else has, and that's really powerful. Gliffy, thank you for the 10 Swiss francs as well. I couldn't possibly comment on what you said alongside it. But yeah, I think optimistic. Israel, again, I mean, we talked before about my position. I couldn't possibly comment on that, Tom. I couldn't possibly. And
I didn't say anything either.
Hey,
Thank
indeed.
you, Gliffy, for the supporting Gabe, though.
Yes. So Israel, very briefly, you all know my stance. There's a full video about it on my channel. All I'll say is stating the obvious, which is that it's going to qualify and do quite well because we're going to see a similar thing to last year. And that's all I have to say about it. It's not going to win the contest, though.
Succinct and accurate description.
Yeah, it's not going to win the contest. There's no way it wins the contest.
If it wins the contest, it'll be the worst song to win the contest since 2008.
Since Believe. Yeah, no, certainly since Running Scared. I don't know if it's worse than Running Scared. That's a low bar. Anyway. Germany next. I am just briefly going to touch on it because I got a message from my girlfriend because she's German being like, no, when I said I wasn't going to talk about the auto qualifiers. She did a really good live performance recently, and also the Hungarian version of this, which is on the YouTube channel, the Eurovision YouTube channel now, really lovely. So I'm feeling a little better about this. I think it could stay off the bottom because it has an audience. And a lot of people dislike it, but a lot of people, it has that little thing. Just quickly, ESC Adam says, Denmark is our solid favourite. Her vocals are peak. Staging hits the mark, could qualify easily. Would love to jump on and talk to me more about you if you ever take call-ins. I don't know whether I'll ever do a call-in show just because it's a big risk to do a call-in show. All it takes is one person to jump on and say something racist and the channel dies because it'll get reported to YouTube and they. So unfortunately, it's probably a case of a few people who would spoil it for everyone else. But no, I take your point about Denmark and thank you very much for the support. What do you think of Bala, Tom? Getting back to the current.
Yeah, sorry, just to back you up. Just to back up on what you're saying there, YouTube really don't give an F about smaller creators. So I think it's a wonderful entry. I think this is absolutely what Germany should send. It sounds super German, really, really contemporary. I'm worried about her vocals. That's my concern. If
Same.
she nails the vocals, this could be a little bit of a surprise. If she is having problems with her laryngitis or she doesn't sound clean live, this can just absolutely plummet down to the bottom, which would be such a shame because it's such a fabulous entry.
For sure. I love that. I love that this is the German entry. I love the ambition. Even if it came out of a truly diabolically awful selection format, which I don't think we're ever going to see again. But yeah, it's just going to be, there's a big point of uncertainty over the vocals. Moving on to the last song, and in my opinion, the best chance of something toppling Sweden is this woman. Obviously, it's qualifying. We don't even need to have a discussion about that.
Mm-hmm.
How high can she go? She can win. She can win. Still, if this is perfect, then she could blow everyone away. I love this. I love this
Is
song.
this your number one? This was your number one? You just did your top 37 list, didn't you?
Yeah, it's my
Was
number
she
one.
number one?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, okay.
I adore it. But these people have heard plenty about my opinion. And I'm sure many of them have heard plenty of yours as well. But I bang on about this way too much. So yours is probably fresher. My opinion is stale about this. Thank you to Jamie and Kyla for the 2 each there, by the way. Thank you so much. What do you think of Ishkoma, Tom?
I love it. Absolutely. Actually, Finland is one of the largest countries that watches my channel, so I've got lots of I
Same.
think Finnish people have heard what I've said about this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Finland and Netherlands. I have a special relationship with Finland and Netherlands.
For sure. What do you think? So you love the song. Do you think it could win the contest?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's got a potential to win. I think strategically what they should be looking at is how to manage the jury. And actually, I really liked her outfit in Madrid pre-party because it still felt really boss energy, really powerful. But it just felt like, I felt like the jury's super prudish and conservative. And if they see any kind of like studs or leather, I know it sounds ridiculous, but I think that they're just going to be like, this isn't family friendly enough. So I thought her outfit in Madrid felt more strategic. And if they can just get a high enough jury score, I think the televote's going to love this. And, you know, we have so many fun, crazy men this year. She's going to be unique from being the funnest, craziest female. Well, Mariana Conte as well. So, yeah, this could definitely do well in the televote. And if you looked at Gaia in UMK, he had quite a big upgrade to Eurovision, you know, with the thing with the tongue, the snake tongue, and the LEDs. And if they do an upgrade here, I think Sergio Hayan is working with the team. I think it's mostly the UMK team with Sergio Hayan. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, I think this can win.
Yeah. I think as well, the budget is bigger than it was in 2023 as well. Like now, I mean, we almost see what UMK is like. It's become like a flagship of Yle, the broadcaster. So I'm super confident. So I'm now going to ask for a return to the board. And we are going to do the same thing again. So that looks like the correct number of countries to me. Yes, 16. Now, yeah, I think we can things we can put at the top now, get the easy bit out of the way. Finland, Austria, Israel, obviously going to be at the top. I don't think that's controversial. I presume everyone in chat will agree as well. Although I don't think they've seen it yet because currently they're just saying Ish Gobba. Keep trying, guys.
You have such an easy job making your merch because like your chat just makes up all your merch ideas for you.
At the same time, I'm not sure I want to send out a bunch of shirts to people that are going to walk around with the word skibbity garg across their chest. I'm not sure.
It's family friendly. It could be worse. It could be worse.
I guess so. Right. So we have those top 3. I'm going to unfortunately not unfortunately for George because it's obvious. George is going last, so let's just throw it down there now.
Yeah.
Put that on the bottom row. We'll do 3 rows of 5 and then Georgia on the bottom.
Okay. Who else is in the bottom row? Montenegro?
Yeah, I put Montenegro there. Everyone else, we're going to need to have a debate about.
Yeah.
You've gone to
Do we agree on Australia?
Yeah, I'd say so. Australia and Malta, I think, are 4 and 5. No, Czech Republic. Czech Republic.
Czech Republic. I have Czech Republic being a potential shock, doing well.
Yeah. Can I make a controversial suggestion? Can we drop
Are you going to put Greece out?
Austria? I think we could drop
Okay.
Austria down a little bit. Like, keep him in that top row.
Third.
But
Okay.
yeah, let's leave him third for now. Leave him third for now. So, just organizing my thoughts on the rest here.
You want Lithuania through, don't you?
Yeah, I think we had the three that we were like, well, they're through, but at least one of us had some doubts. Were Greece, Lithuania, and Luxembourg.
Okay. I actually put Luxembourg out in my prediction video
Oh.
because no, I'm still open to putting them in, but I'm just based on the fact that like what we've seen currently, like the pre-party visuals aren't going to make it. But if they get it right, they have like a dress reveal. I think it would be cool to have a dress reveal and have some fun LEDs, and they get the dancers right. I think it's definitely in. But there's like so many ifs. I've got like 3 ifs there.
That then leaves us with this problem, which is actually something I touched on in my video, which I did a whole video about these 5. Where I said one of them, my argument was basically in most scenarios, one of them is qualifying, but only one.
Which, these 5?
Remove Montenegro and Georgia.
Wait.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
So you've got the
get
9,
rid of them
we've got the
completely. Okay,
9
these
we've
5.
got through.
Okay.
Those 5, one of them is through. How on earth do we decide which of the? This is why no, I think almost nobody is going to get 10 out of 10 qualifiers correct on semi 2 for this reason.
Oh. Especially if you add in, if one of these 3 is gone, or we have a shock from the 6, like 10 is out the window. Last year they called Don's first, so my 10 out of 10 was gone immediately because I thought he was out.
And the thing is, the chat's calling for a poll, but we can only put 4 options in a poll, so we kind of have to drop one now.
I don't. I love our, I love my own country, but I'm really hope I'm wrong. But I find this a tough one. Actually, Armenia as well. I find I'm not feeling it right now either.
Thing is, I'm quite
I know you've got
bullish
lots of memes and stuff
about
but-
Ireland. I think
Okay. Hey, if you're committed, then well, we have to put who we're putting out then. Armenia.
it's Armenia or Serbia. I think Armenia has to be the logical choice. Sorry to
Like I think Serbia's wishful thinking. I think a lot of people in the fandom don't want it in the final, but you never get the 10 qualifiers you want. There's always someone that you is like a casual qualifier that the casuals like.
So I think this is going to be another tight poll. I'm going to set it up now. We're going to have those 4, and we'll agree. Whoever chat decides is who we'll put in that 10th place, and then we'll try and order the other 3 immediately after, right? So, we are going to do... right, who qualifies? Give me a minute to type. Who qualifies? Ireland, Serbia,
I think they'll put Denmark through.
Latvia. If I had to predict which they'd say, I'd probably say Denmark too, but we'll see what happens. I mean, they surprised us before with how close it was. It could be the same here. All right, there you go. There's your poll, everyone.
Oh no, sorry.
This is really interesting.
Oh no,
actually.
it's not. It's not Denmark. Oh wait, no, it just changed. Oh,
It's
sorry.
so close, but it's interesting because it's not close at all over on Twitch. So I think I know
really?
who we're going to be putting in this slot. Yeah,
Why Twitch putting through Latvia? Are they?
Denmark by a clear margin at the moment.
Oh really?
But on
right, okay.
YouTube, it's like neck and neck. Ireland and Serbia, we can say are out. You can put them down now because they're nowhere near. Doesn't matter how many votes they get from here. Okay. Kyle, thank you so much for becoming a YouTube member. I really appreciate that. Interestingly, the mods have accidentally included Slovenia in the poll on Twitch.
Oh wow, that would be impressive if they qualified from a different semi-final.
Yeah, it would. And the poll is over, and it's it's tight, but it is clear. Denmark 41%, Latvia 36%, Ireland 12%, Serbia 8%, and over on Twitch 48% Denmark, 34% Latvia, 12% Ireland, Serbia 6%. So I think we have Denmark, and then we have Latvia. Yep, a sad face indeed.
I don't know. That would really upset me if Latvia didn't go through.
It's just I really want it to go through, and emotionally I did think like, oh, I'd quite like to put that there.
We have to put Serbia 11th because they've never not been 11th in a semi-final ever.
Okay, which leaves Ireland 12th, Montenegro, and then Georgia. So,
And you're saying Armenia's coming last?
Armenia after Ireland.
Okay,
Armenia
okay.
after Ireland.
I was
for
going to be
now.
like, you turned your back on them so quickly.
But again, like it's so tight that I think that whole order could shift. And like if none of them deliver, then all of a sudden a small little window could open for Montenegro too. Thank you, Ale.
This is
for
one of the things I like is that if you look at all these, it comes to who delivers the most. I really do think that if you're in any of these countries and you have absolutely incredible staging, you're just going to take a place. And that's the way it should be. You should be taking a place because you've just raised the bar and you've got fabulous production.
Now, we're going to do one more poll on this. This order overall, I'm happy with. Is there anything you want to change?
I still think that looks yeah. I don't
Just
think we have
shift it
enough
slightly
information to
towards
say
you, by the way.
Luxembourg's so bad.
Shift it slightly towards you, the
Oh.
board. Yeah, just because it's... There we go, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was just Finland was off the edge.
Okay.
I want to bump Greece down below Lithuania, but that's the only change I would really
Ooh.
want to make.
Okay. No, I think that's possible.
Okay, so now we ask ourselves... So I think this is going to be the order, because I think the Israel televote effect is going to be reduced this year.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think it's interesting. And again, chat, like, it's up to you guys. Let me know what you think of this. I don't think it's interesting to poll on those first two because, again, I think those two finishing top two in the semi-final is not controversial. I think it's more interesting what happens with the four after that. So I'd be more interested to say who's going to finish third out of those four. I'm pretty confident it'll be one of those four, but I think it could be any of them. We'll see what chat says. I'll give them a moment because YouTube chat is slightly behind, so we have to wait 15, 20 seconds.
Okay.
I'm seeing... It looks like people seem to be... Just waiting for it to come in. Okay, yeah, people are saying good. I'm seeing something like good idea. And people thinking lots of different ones. Okay, I'm going to do a poll of those third places then. Austria, Czechia, Malta, Australia. Start a poll. Who will finish third in semi-final two? And we have, it was Austria, it was Czechia. I'm going to add option. It was Malta and it was Australia. And by the way, thank you so much, Gail, for the membership. I saw that just before. I really appreciate that. Let's see what happens here. Again, I think this is pretty interesting as to where it could go. Although, actually, interestingly, it seems there's a pretty clear choice.
Which was my pick. I just voted for that country myself.
This is curious. We're going to let it play out in case there is a swing in any direction. I think, and it's interesting. People are saying, oh, well, Israel has a big advertising budget. The thing is that Israel is using the exact same playbook as it did last year. Like, it's a woe is me ballad, which is exactly what they did last year. It'll be effective on the same people that it was effective on last year. But look what happened with Ukraine in 2023 compared to 2022. Like, it was less raw by then. And I think all of us can agree that, that what is going on and continues to, the continued, sort of breaches of international law, the continued war crimes being carried out by Israel remain every bit as horrific as they were a year ago. But both in terms of, but the emotion, especially in a Eurovision context around this debate, is significantly lower than it was last year. Like, you can feel it in every interaction. You can see it on social media. It's not as, like, it was all anyone was talking about last year. Like, for weeks before, it was all about Israel, including in the mainstream news. That is not the narrative this year. It's different. Because of that, we're not going to get the same kind of voting effect. There'll be some, but not to the same degree. Okay, well, the poll is over, and it's a clear result, which is 48% Austria on both Twitch and YouTube. Malta second with 22 on YouTube and 24 on Twitch. Czechia, 20% on Twitch and 19 on YouTube. And then Australia were 9 and 8 respectively. Yeah, I could see that. I'm a little surprised because personally I would have said one of Malta or Czechia. I'm not sure which, but I would have said one of those. You said that's the result you expected. Why is it you think Austria is coming third?
Me, well, actually, I would even be tempted to put Austria potentially in first or second. I think that's possible. Again, it has to have that 30 seconds wow at the end. I think that's currently what the odds are putting right now. They've got Israel first, Finland second, and Austria third in terms of the who's winning the semifinals. But yeah, I think Austria's got the potential to be a bit of a surprise winner. So by default, then, if I think they can come first and second, that's why I put them as the winner of this following pack.
Yeah, stop spamming, by the way, to the person who's spamming. That's not nice. Yeah, no, I see that. I do see that line of thinking. With that, we've come to the conclusion of our semi-final predictions. They want one more poll. So,
Okay, well, I've got a poll for you. Which of these four is the shock non-qualifier?
out of because Denmark was uncertain, I would suggest we do the 3 instead. But I like that idea.
Okay, let's go 3 then. Let's go 3.
Start
Or you put in the fourth option that none of them are shock non-qualifiers.
or as in it would
So
be a shock if one of these didn't qualify.
Or as in like you have the option Lithuania or Greece or Luxembourg, or you could have like none. None of them shock non-qualify.
As
That
in
could be
they
the fourth
will
one.
all qualify.
Yeah. They'll all make it.
Okay. All right. It's coming to you now. And it's there live on YouTube. It'll be up on Twitch shortly. Shock non-qualifier. Will it be Lithuania, Greece, or Luxembourg, or will it be none? I.e., will they all qualify? So the votes
I voted
are
for the most
pouring in.
popular one again.
God,
I'm very basic.
so mainstream. God.
I'm so much
Um,
sold out.
no,
Sold out
exactly.
to the EBU.
Precisely. Right. I can see that ticking down now. I'll give people a bit more time to vote. Very interesting. It's very close on Twitch. Obviously, the voting volume is lower on Twitch. It's super clear on YouTube at the moment. Please stop spamming. Like, I love you guys so much, but just don't spam. Now, we are waiting for the results to time out. You have just a few more seconds to vote, so make sure to do it. Time is of the essence. And we will be ending the poll in 3.
Eurovision saying Greece, but is it a shock? I see you, Eurovision.
That's a hot take. But a lot of people
It's a
do
hot
agree
take.
with them. A lot of people agree with them because on Twitch, Greece won this poll. Or lost, I guess. Greece,
Oh,
40%,
really?
Luxembourg, 39%, Lithuania, 16%, and then none all will qualify. Only 4 people, 4%. Luxembourg, 46% on YouTube. Greece, 24%, Lithuania, 15%, and none, they will all qualify, 13%. A higher voting
The
volume
last
overall,
shock,
though.
the last shock non-qualifier for Greece was Anere Mu, which I'm probably pronouncing wrong.
Yeah, in 2018.
But that was in a bigger semi-final. Yeah, it was in a bigger semi-final. That was the death semi-final.
Oh, who else was in that semi-final? Let me have a quick look.
Ryan Shaughnessy was. It was Ryan Shaughnessy and then Kami, and then Crazy from Croatia.
I remember
And
that
then
was fancied, wasn't it? And that didn't go anywhere. Greece. Okay,
it was,
here we are.
it was 19. I think there were 19 countries in it.
Oh wow, yeah. I mean, I'm just looking at it now. I'll get it up on screen for a second. There we go. You've got. I mean, yeah. If you look, you had Senek. That was a shock. I remember Belgium. That was one of the Belgium curse years. It just fell apart. Stones by Zibs. Yeah. Jeez, this is astonishing. Yeah. No, that really was a semi.
Yeah.
That's
Even Belarus's song that year was really good as well. Do you remember? And he had crazy staging where his back was like bleeding roses.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that. I kind of.
He was out, and then his staging was wow, and people were like, "Oh, he's qualifying now."
And then 16th. But yeah, tough to qualify in the semi-final. I can't really, looking back, I can't really argue with changing any of these 10 though. Like, I would choose these 10.
So can I give a shout out? Have you seen the video of there's an Irish fan watching Ryan O'Shaughnessy qualify from that year? Have you seen it?
Yes, the one where he's like,
oh, it's my favorite Eurovision video that exists in the entire world. The one where he's going,
yeah, and he's like screaming, just so much joy. Oh,
oh my god, it's my favorite thing in the world.
that was so deserved as well. Such a pretty staging, such a pretty song.
That's my favorite Irish entry ever.
Oh really? That's mine is very mainstream choice, but mine is The Voice by Emma Quinn.
It's good as well, yeah.
It's just I mean her voice is otherworldly. with that, I think it's time for us to bring tonight to a close. I want to say once again, thank you all for your incredible support tonight over the last 6 months, a year, 18 months, through everything that has happened. It's been a tough time, but this may end up being a gift in some ways. You know, all I want to do is keep doing what I'm doing, and I am not in this game for the EBU to decide if they want me in their cool kids club or not. So I don't really mind, to be honest, and I'm going to keep doing what I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, no matter who likes it or not. I want to say thank you so much, and I'm going to give him a second to make sure you know all of his different socials on his channel too, Eurovision Tom, who will now tell you all the places that you can find him.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. Super fun. Hopefully we can do this again. I'll be coming to Gabe HQ in Basel.
Yes.
Which I think will be like the Golden Palace, hopefully. I am on Twitter at Eurovision Tom. I'm more active on Instagram now at Eurovision Tom, and then I have a YouTube channel where I do like statsy analysis, overthinking Eurovision stuff at ESC Tom. And I just released a big ass mother loving video about the grand final 2024, where I do a deep dive into this like new jury pattern that's emerging of jury winners winning Eurovision. So go check that out. Thank you very much for having me and for being here.
No, thanks so much, Tom. Yeah, make sure, as I said, make sure follow him on all social media, subscribe to him. He is, you know, there were some people when I started making videos, there were some Eurovision channels that I really looked to when it came to the thoroughness, to the quality, people who I really, really respected. Among those, you know, were channels like, you know, Overthinking It and Yourself, especially. And and so for me, it's kind of, you know, being in a position where I can be like, hey, ESC Tom, you know, come on my stream. That for me is like a kind of, you know, a personal that I've made at the moment. So I really appreciate you being here. Very quickly.
Oh, well, you're killing it. You're such a good host. Like, I've done live streaming. It is really hard to keep it going and keep it energetic. And your relationship with your audience is really fantastic. Your besties.
Well, I feel really lucky to have, you know, such an amazing audience and such a supportive audience, and the way you guys responded with the amount of love that, you know, and support that's come pouring out in the last 24 hours. Like, it's been quite an emotional like day, because I've just been scrolling through all these messages and stuff, and it's just the nicest thing. Very quickly, ESC Adam did throw in another £10 and said, Luxembourg will NQ. They shouldn't have qualified last year. Fighter was bland. Got put through because they returned after 30 years. Better this year, but hopefully a non-qualifier will be a wake-up call for them. Thank you so much for your support. Personally, I disagree. I thought Fighter did deserve to qualify. I thought it came together nice and slickly, and Tally showed some good flexibility because it was outside of her usual comfort zone. As for this year, yeah, I think it could come through, it could not. In any case, with that, I'm going to call it to a close. Thank you all so much for coming, as always. Just so you know, there's not going to be a video this Friday because I need to dedicate this week to getting everything set for Basel. Right? By taking this week and focusing on that, it'll give you guys much, much better from me in Basel. And then next week is going to be a repeat of last year's when I did a Here's Who Will Win Eurovision video. That is happening again this year. That is going to be on Friday the 9th.
8th? Oh.
Close. But no cigar. No. Friday the 9th of May. So that will be the next you see from me.
Yeah.
In the meantime, getting everything ready for Basel. Any last words?
You're
Tom?
arriving on the 10th. We're both arriving on the 10th, aren't we?
Yes, we are indeed. On the Saturday.
Okay. Airport besties.
Yes, indeed. I will see you in the Basel. I think they call it like Europort or something. Anyway, I have to go and spend the next 2 weeks getting everything sorted out, and then after that, working out who is going to win Eurovision and then making a video about it. I will see you there. For